cool your feet. This is one of the most effective sleep hacks, and many of us do it instinctively. There's a good reason for that. Your body needs to cool down slightly before it can fall asleep. That drop in core temperature is one of the brain's main cues to start the sleep cycle, and your feet happen to be one of the fastest ways to trigger that signal. That's because the blood vessels in your feet are close to the surface. When your feet are exposed to cooler air, they act like heat vents, helping your body release excess warmth. As your core temperature drops, your nervous system shifts into rest mode. Heart rate slows down, muscles loosen up, and your brain starts preparing for sleep. This is why so many people naturally kick off the blankets or hang one foot out without even thinking. It's an instinctive way to self-regulate temperature. And in some cases, it's the only thing that helps. If you tend to feel overheated at night, or if you're dealing with hot flashes, cooling your feet can be a game changer. That could mean sleeping barefoot, placing a fan near your feet, dipping them in cool water before bed, or even wrapping a chilled gel pack in a towel for a few minutes. No complicated routines, no medication, just basic body physics working in your favor. Once your feet cool down, the rest of your body gets the message. And when your body gets the message, your brain follows. Don't try to sleep trick. You've probably been there, lying in bed, eyes closed, telling yourself to fall asleep. But the more you try, the more awake you feel. That's exactly why the don't try to sleep trick exists. It's based on a simple but powerful idea. Stop forcing it. This technique flips the usual approach. Instead of actively trying to sleep, you do the opposite. You lie in bed and intentionally try to stay awake, but calmly. You keep your body still, your eyes gently open or closed, and your mind relaxed. It's called paradoxical intention, and it's a counterintuitive strategy often used in cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia. The logic is straightforward. When you try hard to fall asleep, you create pressure. That pressure leads to stress and frustration, which activates your nervous system and makes sleep even harder. But when you stop trying and accept being awake, your body actually starts relaxing. And that's when sleep tends to come naturally. It's not about distracting yourself with phones or getting up and cleaning. It's about removing performance pressure. Picture it like trying to remember a word on the tip of your tongue. The more you reach for it, the further away it feels. But the moment you stop thinking about it, it pops into your mind. Sleep can work the same way. This approach won't work instantly for everyone, but it can be especially useful for those who experience anxiety around bedtime. Instead of aiming for sleep, aim for rest. Breathe normally, stay still, and allow yourself to be awake without judgment. Ironically, that's often what finally lets your brain drift off. By doing less, you give your body the space to do what it's designed to do on its own. 4-7-8 breathing technique. This breathing technique is a simple way to calm your system when your mind feels stuck in high gear. Here's how it works. You inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold your breath for 7 seconds. Then, exhale slowly through your mouth for 8 seconds. That's 1 round. The pattern is slow and deliberate, and that's the point. This breathing rhythm helps activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the part responsible for calming the body down. When you hold your breath after inhaling, carbon dioxide builds up slightly, which signals to the brain that it can ease off on alertness. The extended exhale is especially powerful. It slows the heart rate, relaxes the muscles, and lowers blood pressure. Together, those steps help shift you from a state of tension to one of relaxation. It's a tool often recommended for sleep, anxiety, and even panic, because it gives the body a clear, physical cue to relax. And it's easy to learn. You don't need a quiet room, a meditation cushion, or even a lot of time. You just need a few minutes and your breath. One round usually takes about 20 seconds. Doing 4 cycles in a row is a good starting point. The effect builds gradually. You might notice your thoughts slow down, your jaw unclench, or your chest feel less tight. It's not a trick or a hack. It's a way to restore balance between the breath and the nervous system, giving the brain permission to slow down and giving the body a moment of reset. Simple, quiet, and surprisingly effective. Cold side of the pillow. It's a move almost everyone makes without thinking, flipping the pillow to the cool side. This isn't just about comfort. It's a built-in response to restlessness. When the surface starts to feel warm or stuffy, your brain associates that with discomfort. And discomfort, even minor, delays sleep. The quick switch to a fresh, cool surface offers instant contrast. It's smooth, it's quiet, and it feels like a reset. The cold side trick doesn't just cool your skin, it interrupts the loop of tossing and turning. That little shock of contrast breaks the monotony, like hitting a mental refresh button. For many people, it's that subtle shift that finally lets the body settle. You don't have to wait for your pillow to go warm in the first place. Some people rotate between 2 pillows. Others stash a cool pack underneath and swap sides when needed. There are also cooling fabrics and gel inserts that keep that fresh sensation going longer. But the core idea stays simple. When things feel just slightly off in bed, your brain notices. The cold side offers a gentle correction. It tells your senses, here's something different, something better. It's not about science this time. It's about texture, timing, and that small physical cue your body instinctively responds to. A little comfort loop you can repeat as many times as you need until you finally drift off. Guided visualization hack. After a long day, the hardest part can be slowing down your mind. Guided visualization is a simple yet powerful hack to help with that. Guided visualization is a technique where you mentally picture calming, peaceful scenes or scenarios, often with the help of a narrator or audio recording. Instead of trying to force yourself to sleep, you focus on imagining a relaxing place, a quiet beach, a gentle forest, or even floating on a soft cloud. This focused mental imagery helps redirect your thoughts away from stress, worries, or racing to-do lists. The process starts by getting comfortable and closing your eyes. Then, you listen to a guided narration that walks you through the scene step by step, encouraging you to picture the details, the sound of waves, the feel of sand under your feet, the warmth of the sun. This creates a vivid sensory experience that occupies your mind without demanding active problem-solving or decision-making. What makes this hack effective is how it quiets the brain's default mode network, the part responsible for mind-wandering and overthinking. By giving your brain something simple and soothing to focus on, guided visualization breaks the cycle of anxious or scattered thoughts. You don't need to be an expert to try it. There are plenty of free guided visualization recordings available online, tailored for sleep or relaxation. Even a few minutes of this practice can reduce heart rate, ease muscle tension, and prepare your nervous system for rest. By making guided visualization part of your bedtime routine, you train your mind to let go and ease into sleep more naturally. It's a gentle, accessible way to calm your brain and turn down the volume on daily stress without relying on medication or complicated techniques. Magnesium lotion massage. Magnesium is often called the miracle mineral for its role in helping the body relax, and using magnesium lotion as part of a bedtime massage is an easy way to tap into those benefits. Magnesium lotion massage involves applying a lotion or cream infused with magnesium onto the skin, usually on areas like the feet, shoulders, or calves. When rubbed in, the magnesium gets absorbed through the skin and starts working to calm the nervous system and ease muscle tension. This mineral plays a key role in regulating your body's stress response. It helps balance neurotransmitters, the chemical messengers in your brain that control relaxation and sleep. When magnesium levels are low, it's common to experience muscle cramps, restlessness, or difficulty falling asleep. The lotion massage itself adds a soothing, tactile element. The gentle pressure and slow strokes of a massage help increase blood flow, reduce muscle tightness, and send calming signals to your brain. Combining the massage with magnesium lotion enhances this effect by delivering relaxation both physically and chemically. For many people, this routine becomes a nightly ritual, applying the lotion, massaging key areas, and signaling to the body that it's time to power down. The lotion's silky texture and mild scent also add to the sensory experience, making it feel like a small moment of self-care. Magnesium lotion massage is a straightforward, non-invasive way to support better sleep quality. Whether you deal with restless legs, tension headaches, or just general stress, this simple practice can make it easier to unwind and drift off naturally. It's an accessible sleep hack that combines the science of magnesium with the calming power of touch. Hot bath drop-off. A warm bath feels good at the end of the day, but there's more to it than comfort. It actually helps your body get into the right state for sleep. When you sit in hot water, your body temperature rises. But once you get out, it starts to cool down quickly. That cooling process is what helps trigger your natural sleep response. It mimics the internal temperature drop your body normally uses to shift into rest mode. This drop in temperature helps signal your brain to release melatonin and begin slowing down the nervous system. That's why a bath can feel so relaxing, not just in the moment, but in the way it prepares your body to power down afterward. It's also a way to release physical tension. Warm water increases blood flow, so muscles loosen and tightness fades. If you've been sitting at a desk all day or carrying stress in your shoulders, the warmth helps reset your body. That makes it easier to lie still and fall asleep more comfortably. A full bath isn't the only option. A warm shower can also work, or even just soaking your feet in a small tub. The point is to give your body a short period of gentle heat, followed by natural cooling. That contrast is what shifts you into sleep mode. You don't need fancy oils or a spa setup. Just water, warmth, and a few minutes of calm. It's one of the simplest ways to move your body out of daytime mode and into something slower, quieter, and better aligned with sleep. Binaural beats. Some sounds make you feel more awake. Others help your brain fall asleep. Delta wave frequencies fall into the second group. These are low-frequency brainwaves between 1 and 4 Hz that show up during deep, non-REM sleep. That's the part of sleep where your body does most of its physical recovery and your brain enters a kind of quiet maintenance mode. You're not dreaming, you're not thinking, you're just resting deeply. The idea behind delta wave audio is to nudge your brain into that state using something called binaural beats. It works like this. When you listen to 2 different tones in each ear, say 200 Hz in the left ear and 204 in the right, your brain doesn't just hear 2 separate tones. It also picks up on the difference between them, in this case 4 Hz. That's the delta range. the brain naturally tries to sync to that frequency. It's called brainwave entrainment. Over time, that subtle pulsing difference can guide your brain closer to the state it usually reaches during deep sleep. You can find delta wave playlists on most music platforms. They often sound like a slow, ambient hum. No melody, no lyrics, just a consistent rhythm designed to blend into the background. Most people use them with noise-cancelling headphones, especially if there's outside noise or mental chatter keeping them up. It's not a magic switch, and it doesn't knock you out instantly, but it can make the process of falling asleep smoother by helping your brain settle into the right rhythm. Think of it less like music and more like a bedtime metronome, quietly leading your brain where it needs to go. Cozy nest strategy. Everyone sleeps better when they feel safe, warm, and undisturbed. And that's the entire idea behind the cozy nest strategy. At its core, this approach is about transforming your bed into a space that signals rest on every level. It starts with layers. Think soft, breathable sheets, a plush comforter, and maybe an extra blanket folded nearby. But beyond temperature and materials, it's also about structure. Some people sleep better when slightly cocooned, using a body pillow on one side, or tucking the blanket in more snugly around the legs. It mimics the way babies are swaddled for calm. You're creating subtle pressure around the body that can promote relaxation without even noticing it. The second part of the strategy is about cutting distractions. That means minimizing visual clutter. Too many bright colors or open items near your bed, like chargers, unfolded laundry, or bags, can make the space feel unfinished. In a proper cozy nest, everything you see and touch should feel quiet and comfortable. It helps the brain switch out of alert mode. Lighting matters too. Dim or amber-toned lighting in the evening helps keep the body's internal clock on track. Add in a familiar scent like lavender or chamomile, and the sensory cues start lining up. Your environment becomes a system of gentle signals that tell your body, you're safe. You can let go. Some people even use sound to complete the nest. A white noise machine, a fan, or a soft playlist that doesn't change too abruptly. The point isn't to copy someone else's perfect setup. It's to intentionally build a space that feels low pressure and comfortable for your own nervous system. The more your surroundings support rest, the less effort it takes to fall into it. Aromatherapy anchoring. Smell is one of the fastest ways to change your mental state. That's what makes aromatherapy anchoring such a useful sleep tool. It's a technique where you pair a specific scent with a specific activity, like winding down for bed, so that, over time, your brain starts to associate that smell with relaxation. The science behind it comes from classical conditioning. Just like a certain song can bring back a memory instantly, a consistent scent can trigger your body to start calming down. The key is consistency. When you use the same scent every night as part of your bedtime routine, your brain starts to recognize it as a cue. Lavender is the most common choice because it's been shown to reduce heart rate and ease anxiety. But other calming scents like sandalwood, bergamot, or cedarwood can work just as well. What matters most is that you use the same one every time. There are a few easy ways to apply this. A diffuser that runs for 30 to 60 minutes before bed is one option. A few drops of essential oil on your pillow or a roll-on applied to your wrists or neck can work too. Just avoid using overpowering amounts. Strong scents can actually be distracting or irritating. It's also important to only use the scent in a sleep context. If you use it while working, watching TV, or doing anything active, the association becomes diluted. Anchoring works best when the cue is tied to a specific mental state. Over time, the scent becomes a signal. Your brain learns that this smell means it's time to slow down, get quiet, and prepare for sleep. It's not about forcing anything. It's about setting up a consistent trigger your body can respond to naturally. Banana before bed. Bananas can do more for your sleep than most people realize. They contain 3 nutrients that work together to help your body wind down: potassium, magnesium, and tryptophan. Potassium and magnesium are electrolytes that support muscle relaxation. If you've ever felt twitchy legs or general tension at night, these minerals help calm your system and reduce that restlessness. Tryptophan is an amino acid that plays a different role. Your body uses it to produce serotonin, which is involved in mood regulation, and melatonin, the hormone that controls your sleep-wake cycle. Bananas contain a small but useful amount of tryptophan, and the natural carbohydrates in the fruit help your body absorb it more easily. The advantage here is how accessible this is. No complicated supplements or elaborate routines. Just eat a banana 30 to 60 minutes before bed. It's light, naturally sweet, and won't cause the kind of blood sugar spike that interferes with sleep. For people who find themselves slightly hungry at bedtime or wake up in the night feeling empty, it's an easy way to stabilize energy levels without disrupting the sleep process. There's also no need to overthink it. 1 banana is enough. No blending, no fancy timing, no measuring. Just a simple, consistent habit that works well with your body's existing rhythms. If sleep feels inconsistent or restless, this kind of small dietary change can make a noticeable difference. It supports the processes your body already relies on to transition into rest without the side effects of over-the-counter sleep aids. Mental massage. Sometimes the simplest tricks can have the biggest impact on how easily you fall asleep. The mental massage is one such technique, an exercise that mimics the soothing feeling of a massage without anyone actually touching you. The idea is to use your imagination to recreate the sensation of gentle, relaxing strokes on your body. You mentally massage areas like your shoulders, neck, or scalp, focusing on how it feels, as if someone's hands are slowly kneading away tension. This visualization activates the same relaxation response in your nervous system that a real massage would. Why does this work? The brain has a strong connection to the body's sensations, and vivid mental imagery can influence physical states. Imagining a calming touch helps release muscle tightness and lowers stress hormones, preparing your body for rest. It also encourages slower breathing and heart rate, both important for winding down. You don't need any special tools or help, just a quiet moment and a little focus. Starting at your head or shoulders, imagine warm hands moving slowly, applying gentle pressure. Picture the muscles softening and any tension melting away. Moving down to your arms or legs, continue this mental massage, paying attention to each sensation. The mental massage taps into the power of the mind-body connection. By tricking your brain into feeling cared for and relaxed, it helps your entire system shift from alertness to calm. This technique is especially useful if you don't have time for a real massage or when you want to calm yourself quickly before bed. It's a simple, accessible way to ease into sleep by giving your mind and body a moment of gentle care, even if it's just in your imagination. Limited screen at night. You don't have to give up screens completely, but how you use them at night can quietly shape the quality of your sleep. Most screens, phones, tablets, TVs, give off blue light. That light tells your brain it's still daytime, which delays the release of melatonin, the hormone that helps you wind down. So even if you're physically tired, your brain may still be running in daytime mode. That's where the idea of limiting screens at night comes in. It's not about being strict, it's about being selective. Instead of cutting out all devices, start by dimming the brightness an hour or so before bed. Use night shift mode if your device has it, or put on a pair of blue light blocking glasses. And think about what you're watching or reading. Intense content, like news or fast-paced videos, keeps your mind alert. But slower, low-stimulation content, like a documentary or calm music, is less likely to interfere with your sleep signals. If you're able to swap that last bit of screen time for a book, a quiet stretch, or even just a few minutes of stillness, the effects can build quickly. Your brain starts associating that routine with rest instead of stimulation. This isn't about perfection, it's about helping your body shift gears so sleep doesn't feel so far out of reach. Even a small change in screen habits can help your system reset more naturally, and that makes falling asleep feel less like effort and more like something your body just knows how to do. Legs up the wall pose. Lying on your back with your legs up against the wall might look strange at first, but it's one of the simplest ways to calm your body down at the end of the day. This is called the legs up the wall pose. It's a beginner-friendly yoga position that doesn't require any special flexibility or equipment. Just a flat surface and a wall. The idea is exactly what it sounds like. You lie on your back, scoot your hips close to the wall, and rest your legs vertically up the wall while your upper body relaxes on the floor. It's easy to do, but surprisingly effective. Here's what it actually does. When your legs are elevated like this, it helps blood that's been pooling in your lower limbs flow more easily back to your core. That takes some pressure off your heart and can reduce swelling in the feet and legs, especially helpful if you've been standing or walking a lot. At the same time, the pose triggers your parasympathetic nervous system. That's the system responsible for rest and relaxation. So while you're lying still, your body is being cued to slow your heart rate, calm your breathing, and shift into recovery mode. It's not just a physical effect though. This posture also removes visual distractions. You're facing the ceiling, not your phone or a screen. You're not engaging with anything. And that stillness, combined with the shift in blood flow, helps many people transition into a calmer, more restful state before bed. You don't need to hold it long. Anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes is enough. Some people add a folded towel under their hips or use a pillow under their head for extra support. Simple, quiet, and restorative. Ceiling stare trick. When you find yourself lying awake at night, sometimes the simplest action can help reset your mind and body. That's where the ceiling stare comes in, a straightforward technique that uses stillness and focus to gently ease you towards sleep. The ceiling stare means lying comfortably on your back and directing your gaze softly upward at the ceiling. This simple posture encourages relaxation by promoting a calm, neutral focus. Instead of fighting restless thoughts or trying to force sleep, you allow your eyes to rest in one place, which helps reduce mental activity. Why does this work? The brain tends to follow the direction of your gaze. When your eyes are fixed on a quiet, unmoving point, your mind naturally slows down. It prevents the usual eye movements associated with alertness and active thinking, which signals your nervous system to relax. This technique also helps shift your attention away from distractions like phone screens, clocks, or the noise of your surroundings. By focusing on the ceiling, a blank, consistent surface, you create a mental space that isn't stimulating, but isn't stressful either. The ceiling stare is easy to try anytime you feel stuck in a cycle of wakefulness. It's especially helpful when you want a gentle, non-intrusive way to calm down. It doesn't require any special equipment or preparation, just your own presence and a quiet moment. Over time, Practicing the ceiling stare can train your mind to associate this calm, focused state with bedtime. It becomes a simple cue that signals your body to slow down and prepare for rest. In its quiet simplicity, the ceiling stare offers a powerful way to help you drift off without struggle. Color drain. Imagine being able to lower your mental energy simply by imagining the world losing its color. That's the idea behind the color drain, a mental technique designed to help calm your mind and prepare your body for sleep. The color drain involves visualizing the vibrant colors around you slowly fading to shades of gray and white. As the colors drain away, your brain starts to associate the loss of brightness with relaxation and winding down. This subtle shift in perception encourages your nervous system to slow down and signals that it's time to rest. Colors are powerful stimuli. Bright or vivid colors can energize and stimulate your brain, making it harder to relax. On the other hand, muted tones and the absence of color tend to be calming, promoting a sense of stillness. By mentally draining the colors, you create a quiet, neutral mental space that helps reduce mental clutter. You might imagine a colorful room gradually fading into a soft grayscale, or picture a sunset losing its reds and oranges until everything becomes calm and muted. This visualization doesn't require detailed imagery, just a simple awareness of colors dimming and calming. The color drain technique helps distract the mind from active thinking or worry, focusing it instead on a gentle, soothing transformation. This makes it easier to shift out of alertness and into restfulness. It's a practical, low-effort way to influence your mental state, especially useful when your brain feels too active at bedtime. By slowing down your sensory experience through visualization, the color drain supports a smoother transition into sleep, showing how a small mental trick can have a big impact on rest. Alphabet countdown. When your mind refuses to quiet down at night, a simple, structured mental exercise can help guide it gently towards sleep. That's the principle behind the alphabet countdown. The alphabet countdown is exactly what it sounds like. You mentally go through the alphabet in reverse order, from Z to A. But instead of just reciting letters, you add a layer of focus by associating each letter with a word, place, or object. For example, Z for zebra, Y for yacht, X for xylophone, and so on. This exercise serves several purposes. First, it engages your brain in a low-stakes, repetitive task that requires just enough attention to distract from intrusive or stressful thoughts. Unlike worrying or planning, the alphabet countdown isn't emotionally charged or mentally taxing, so it doesn't fuel anxiety. Second, the structured nature of the task creates a predictable rhythm. Your brain loves patterns, and this steady progression helps it shift from the chaos of racing thoughts to a calmer, more ordered state. By focusing on a neutral mental activity, you give your mind something simple to do that doesn't demand high cognitive effort. This subtle engagement occupies your mental workspace just enough to block out distractions, but not enough to keep you awake. People often find that they naturally drift off before reaching the end of the alphabet. The exercise works because it's repetitive, easy to customize, and accessible anytime, anywhere. No special tools needed. The alphabet countdown is a practical mental tool for anyone struggling with restless thoughts at bedtime. It's a gentle way to help your brain wind down and make space for sleep, one letter at a time. Mind Dump Sticky Note. The Mind Dump Sticky Note is a simple hack that helps clear mental clutter before sleep. It works like this. Right before bed, take a sticky note and jot down everything that's swirling around in your head. It could be reminders, worries, tasks you forgot to do, or thoughts that keep circling back. The key is to write them down quickly without organizing or editing. This technique is based on a basic principle. Your brain tries to keep ideas active if it thinks they might be forgotten. That's why people lie in bed remembering emails they didn't send or groceries they forgot to buy. But if you write something down, your brain sees it as handled. It's been captured. You don't have to keep rehearsing it. Using a sticky note keeps things small and low pressure. It's not a full journal or planner. There's no expectation to review or act on the list right away. You're just giving your mind permission to let go. 1 or 2 sentences per thought is enough. Even a few scribbles help reduce that low-level mental tension. Some people keep the note beside their bed. Others crumple it up after writing, treating it like a symbolic release. The approach is flexible. What matters is the timing. Doing it before sleep so your brain isn't sorting through to-dos while you're trying to relax. It may not look like much, but the sticky note trick taps into how memory and stress management really work. By externalizing your thoughts, even briefly, you make space for the mind to slow down, and that makes it easier for the body to follow. Mind-body scan. You don't need special equipment or a quiet retreat to check in with your body. A mind-body scan is a simple mental technique that helps you notice physical tension and release it, right where you are. The idea is straightforward. A mind-body scan is a guided form of awareness where you mentally shift your attention from one part of the body to another. It's not about fixing anything or analyzing it. It's just about noticing. And that small act of attention can have a calming effect on both the nervous system and the mind. You usually start at one end, often the toes or the top of the head, and slowly move your awareness down or up, one area at a time. You might silently name each part: feet, ankles, calves, knees. With each spot, you pause and notice what it feels like. Is it tight? Is it heavy? Is there nothing at all? That's fine too. The point isn't to search for pain or discomfort. It's to gently bring attention to each area and allow it to relax, like turning off a light switch, one room at a time. What makes this especially effective at night is that it gives the mind something structured to focus on without being mentally demanding. Instead of thoughts racing in 10 directions, it anchors your attention to the body. That shift can help cue the parasympathetic nervous system, the part responsible for rest and digestion, lowering your heart rate and preparing you for sleep. Some people use audio guides, but you can also do it on your own. Just slow your breathing, move through your body gradually, and give each part a few seconds of attention. It's not a performance, it's just awareness. And that's often enough. Invisible workout. Exercise is often linked to energy and activity, but there's a subtle kind of movement that can quietly prepare your body for better sleep. This is the idea behind the invisible workout. The invisible workout isn't about breaking a sweat or hitting the gym. Instead, it refers to gentle, low-impact movements and stretches you do throughout the day or right before bed that don't feel like formal exercise, but still help your body relax and release tension. These movements might include things like slow neck rolls, shoulder shrugs, ankle circles, or simple stretches while sitting or lying down. The goal is to awaken your muscles just enough to reduce stiffness, improve circulation, and signal to your nervous system that it's time to shift out of fight or flight mode. Why does this matter for sleep? Stiffness or mild aches can make it harder to find a comfortable position in bed. Also, when muscles stay tight or tense, your body remains in a state of alertness. The invisible workout encourages muscle relaxation, which in turn calms the mind. Because these movements are easy and subtle, they're accessible to almost everyone, regardless of fitness level or time constraints. You don't need special equipment or dedicated workout sessions. Instead, the invisible workout fits naturally into your day, like stretching while waiting for your coffee or loosening up your shoulders after a long meeting. Incorporating this low-key movement into your routine can improve how your body feels and help you ease into sleep more smoothly. It's a quiet, unassuming tool that prepares your body from the inside out, making bedtime something to look forward to instead of a struggle. Reverse day. Sleep routines usually follow a predictable pattern, but sometimes shaking things up can help reset your body and mind. That's where the reverse day comes in, a simple but effective way to recalibrate your sleep cycle. The reverse day means intentionally flipping your daily schedule, especially your sleep and wake times, by pushing them later than usual. For example, if you typically go to bed at 10 p.m. and wake at 6 a.m., you might shift to sleeping at 1 a.m. and waking around 9 a.m. This isn't about staying up all night, but about gradually adjusting your internal clock. Why would you want to do this? Sometimes your body's sleep rhythm gets stuck or misaligned. Maybe from stress, travel, or irregular schedules. Reverse day acts like a reset button, helping to shift your circadian rhythm to a new baseline. The process involves being mindful throughout the day, delaying meals, exposure to light, and other daily cues that influence your internal clock. By pushing these activities later, your body gradually adapts to a shifted schedule. This can make it easier to realign your sleep-wake cycle in the following days, especially if you've been struggling to fall asleep at the right time. Reverse day isn't about drastic all-nighters, but about controlled, deliberate shifts. It can be particularly helpful for people with delayed sleep phase syndrome or those who have trouble waking up in the morning. The key is to plan and maintain the new schedule for a few days, allowing your body to adjust before shifting back to a desired routine. It's a flexible strategy that uses your body's natural adaptability, giving you more control over your sleep patterns. By temporarily reversing your day, you create space to reset your internal clock, a practical tool to reclaim better sleep when your usual rhythm feels off. Evening walk, wind down. An evening walk is one of the simplest ways to tell your body that the day is done. Light physical activity in the evening can help ease the transition between your high-energy daytime rhythm and your slower nighttime routine. Unlike intense workouts, which raise your heart rate and core temperature too close to bedtime, a relaxed walk helps lower stress hormones like cortisol without overstimulating your system. When you walk outdoors in the evening, your body also gets a subtle cue from the change in light. As the sun begins to set, your brain starts adjusting melatonin production. That's the hormone that regulates your sleep-wake cycle. By syncing your body to natural light cues, you make it easier to feel sleepy at the right time. You don't need to go far. A short 10 to 20-minute walk around your neighborhood is enough. It works even better if it becomes part of a predictable routine, something you do after dinner or after you finish the last task of the day. The goal isn't exercise, it's decompression. Evening walks also create a mental reset. They help separate the busyness of the day from the quiet you want before bed. For many people, this window of movement becomes a kind of buffer, a way to release lingering tension, let go of thoughts, and return home feeling mentally lighter. If you prefer walking with someone, that can help too, as long as the pace stays relaxed and the conversation stays low stress. Music or podcasts can be helpful, but sometimes silence is more effective for winding down. This isn't about burning calories or tracking steps. It's about telling your body, through motion and routine, that the time for activity is ending and the time for rest is starting. Gratitude yawn. Yawning is one of those strange, universal actions we all do, often without thinking twice. But did you know that combining a yawn with a moment of gratitude can actually help ease you into sleep more peacefully? That's the simple but powerful idea behind the gratitude yawn. The concept is straightforward. When you yawn, your body takes in a deep breath, increasing oxygen flow and helping your muscles relax. Yawning also signals your brain to start winding down, making it a natural cue for rest. By pairing this physical action with a conscious focus on things you're thankful for, you shift your mind from stress or worry to calm appreciation. This combination works on two levels. Physically, the yawn encourages relaxation and slows your heart rate. Mentally, gratitude activates parts of the brain linked to positive emotions and reduces the activity of stress-related areas. Together, they help create a sense of calm that prepares both body and mind for sleep. Putting it into practice is simple. As you lie in bed, take a slow, deliberate yawn. While you do, think about something, anything, you're grateful for that day. It could be something small, like a good meal, a kind word, or even the comfort of your pillow. Let that feeling of appreciation fill your mind as you exhale. Even if you don't feel immediately sleepy, this gentle shift in focus can soften mental tension and make it easier to relax. The gratitude yawn is an accessible, no-cost sleep aid that taps into your body's natural rhythms and your mind's ability to find calm. It's a small, mindful habit that can make the transition to restful sleep a little smoother and a lot kinder. Reverse alarm. Most people set an alarm to wake up. But if sleep is the goal, it makes just as much sense to set one to wind down. This is called a reverse alarm, a simple reminder to stop what you're doing and start preparing for bed. The idea is to treat bedtime with the same priority as waking up. Just like a morning alarm cues your brain to get up and start the day, a reverse alarm tells your brain it's time to slow down and shift into a different mode. Here's how it works. You set an alarm about 60 to 90 minutes before your ideal bedtime. When it goes off, that's your signal to begin reducing stimulation. That might mean turning off the TV, putting away your phone, dimming the lights, or switching to quieter, low-energy activities. It's not about going to bed immediately. It's about creating a transition period that your brain can recognize. This matters because the body doesn't shift gears instantly. Sleep is regulated by gradual changes in hormone levels, body temperature, and mental activity. If you go straight from working or scrolling to trying to sleep, those systems don't have enough time to adjust. The result is often tossing, turning, or delayed sleep. A reverse alarm gives you a chance to ease into that change. It's a cue to switch from stimulation to stillness. Over time, it also becomes a habit loop, an automatic link between that sound and the start of your nighttime routine. You don't need a special app. Just use your phone, your watch, or even a smart speaker. Pick a time that works for your schedule and treat it like a fixed part of your day. It's one of the simplest ways to support consistent, high-quality sleep. Gentle wake-up plan. Most people wake up to the sound of a loud alarm, a jolt that triggers stress before the day even begins. The gentle wake-up plan flips that approach. It's a method designed to ease your body out of sleep instead of shocking it awake. The idea is simple. Your brain and body don't like abrupt transitions. Just like you need time to fall asleep, you also need time to wake up smoothly. A harsh alarm activates your fight or flight system, increasing heart rate and cortisol levels. It's not a great way to start the day. With a gentle wake-up, the goal is to introduce gradual sensory input, soft light, gentle sound, and small physical movements. That's why some people use sunrise alarm clocks, which simulate dawn by slowly increasing brightness over 30 minutes. This light signals the body to reduce melatonin and begin producing cortisol in a natural rhythm. Pair that with calming sounds instead of beeping, like soft music, nature noises, or low-volume radio. These help bring your mind online without creating panic. Some people even set 2 alarms. The first with soothing music as a cue to start stirring, and a second one 10 to 15 minutes later, slightly louder to mark the real wake-up time. Adding small rituals also helps reinforce the transition. A stretch in bed, a warm drink, or simply sitting up before standing. These steps give your body time to reorient and shift out of sleep inertia, that groggy, disoriented feeling you get from waking up too fast. The gentle wake-up plan isn't about sleeping longer, it's about waking smarter. And over time, that shift in how your day begins can make a noticeable difference in how the rest of it goes. 90-minute rule. Waking up feeling groggy isn't always about how long you sleep. It's often about when you wake up. That's where the 90-minute sleep cycle rule comes in. Instead of aiming for a specific number of hours, this approach focuses on waking up at the end of a sleep cycle rather than in the middle of one. A full cycle lasts about 90 minutes and includes light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep. Waking up at the end of one of these cycles tends to feel smoother and more natural because your brain is already on its way toward being awake. The problem comes when you wake up in the middle of deep sleep. That's when you get that foggy, disoriented feeling known as sleep inertia. It's not about whether you got 8 hours or not. It's about where in the cycle your alarm interrupts you. Using the 90-minute rule means planning your bedtime or wake-up time in multiples of 90 minutes. For example, instead of just aiming for 8 hours, try 7.5 or 9. That way, you're more likely to wake up at the end of a full cycle. There are also sleep calculators online that can estimate when to set your alarm based on when you plan to fall asleep. Of course, not every cycle is exactly 90 minutes. Some variation is normal, but using this as a rough guide can still reduce that jarring, exhausted feeling in the morning. Over time, your body may even start waking up just before the alarm, right as a cycle finishes. This method doesn't require more sleep. It just means sleeping in the right chunks. And for many people, that small shift can make mornings feel completely different. 5-second rule to get out of bed. Getting out of bed in the morning can feel like the hardest part of the day, even when you've had a full night of sleep. That's where the 5-second rule comes in. It's a simple mental trick designed to short-circuit hesitation and help you take action before your brain starts talking you out of it. The basic idea is this. The moment you feel the urge to get up, you count down from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and physically move before your mind has time to delay. This method works because it targets the small window between intention and excuse. When the alarm goes off, your brain doesn't immediately jump to action. It pauses, and in that pause, all sorts of thoughts rush in. Just 5 more minutes, or it's too cold, or I'll start tomorrow. The 5-second countdown interrupts that mental loop before it has a chance to build momentum. It's not magic, and it doesn't rely on motivation. In fact, that's the whole point. The rule gives you a concrete action to follow when motivation is at its weakest. And because it's a countdown, it feels like something you're supposed to finish. Like launching a rocket, it creates urgency without relying on how you feel in the moment. Over time, this simple practice can become automatic, whether it's getting out of bed, turning off the TV, or putting your phone down. The 5-second rule helps you override the part of your brain that prefers comfort over action. It's a tool you can use before your excuses kick in. and while it won't make you love mornings, it can make them easier to start. Cold water face dip. Dipping your face in cold water might sound more like a morning jolt than a nighttime habit. But in the right context, it's a surprisingly effective way to relax your nervous system and prepare for sleep. The technique is simple. Fill a bowl with cold water. Add ice if you want to take it up a notch, and submerge your face for about 10 to 15 seconds. That's it. But what's actually happening inside your body is more interesting. This method taps into something called the diving reflex. It's an instinctive response our bodies have when the face hits cold water. Heart rate slows, blood pressure drops, and the body shifts into a more relaxed state. It's the opposite of the fight or flight response. This sudden change tells your nervous system it's okay to rest. This isn't just a trick used in high-stress situations. People who deal with anxiety or sensory overload sometimes use it to calm down quickly. And in a bedtime setting, it helps slow everything down. Your breathing, your heart rate, your mental pace. You don't have to go extreme with it either. Even splashing your face with very cold water or using a chilled towel on your cheeks and forehead can create a similar effect. Some people do it once and feel an immediate difference. Others make it a short ritual right before bed to signal to their body that it's time to wind down. It's free, it's fast, and it works with the body's own built-in calming system. Not every sleep trick needs to be a supplement or a gadget. Sometimes a bowl of cold water is all it takes to flip the switch. Cooling mattress pad. Waking up in a pool of sweat isn't just uncomfortable. It's one of the fastest ways to disrupt your sleep cycle. That's where a cooling mattress pad can make all the difference. A cooling mattress pad is exactly what it sounds like. A thin layer that sits on top of your mattress and helps regulate temperature while you sleep. But it's not just about feeling cold. It's about keeping your body at a stable, comfortable temperature all night. That's key, because your core temperature needs to drop slightly in order for you to fall and stay asleep. There are a few types of cooling pads. Some use breathable materials like gel-infused memory foam or moisture-wicking fibers to draw heat away from your body. Others use active cooling with built-in water or air systems that circulate under you. Whichever the method, the goal is the same: prevent overheating, especially during the deeper stages of sleep when temperature regulation is most important. This kind of upgrade is especially helpful for hot sleepers, people living in warm climates, or anyone dealing with night sweats. It also helps couples who run at different temperatures, since many cooling pads are now designed with dual zone settings. Even a simple passive pad can be a big step up from a heat-trapping mattress. While fans and AC help cool the room, they don't always help with surface-level heat trapped between you and the bed. That's what makes a cooling pad uniquely effective. It directly targets the space where body heat builds up the most. It's a small layer, but it can have a big impact on the quality and consistency of your sleep. Sunrise wake-up alarm. Waking up to a blaring alarm clock can jolt your system and leave you feeling groggy, even if you technically got enough sleep. A sunrise wake-up alarm takes a different approach. Instead of sound, it uses gradual light to simulate the rising sun, helping your body wake up more gently and naturally. These devices start by emitting a soft, warm glow that slowly increases in brightness over about 30 minutes. The idea is to cue your brain that it's morning before your eyes even open. This concept is based on how our internal clocks, or circadian rhythms, respond to light. Brightness plays a key role in telling the body when to produce cortisol and when to shut down melatonin, the hormone that makes you feel sleepy. In nature, sunrise provides this cue. But when you sleep in a dark room and wake to a sudden alarm, that transition gets skipped. With a sunrise alarm, the light gradually enters your closed eyelids and triggers your brain to ease into wakefulness. It's less of a shock to your system. Some models even include gentle sounds like birdsong or ocean waves as a backup. But the light itself does most of the work. For people who struggle with early mornings or feel groggy after waking, this method can be a game changer. It's especially helpful during winter months when natural daylight is limited, or for anyone living in darker environments. Using a sunrise alarm isn't just about comfort. It's a small but impactful way to align your wake-up routine with how your biology was designed to function. Over time, this can lead to better energy levels, improved mood, and a smoother start to your day. Fake fever. Your body temperature naturally dips as part of the process of falling asleep. The fake fever is a mental trick that takes advantage of this by imagining a warm sensation in your body, helping to trigger relaxation and sleepiness. The concept works like this. You mentally create the feeling that your body is getting warmer, similar to how it feels during a mild fever. This imagined warmth encourages blood vessels near the skin to dilate, which helps release heat from your core. As your core temperature drops, your body gets the signal that it's time to rest. Why does imagining warmth help? Our bodies are sensitive to temperature changes, and the sensation of warmth is linked to relaxation and comfort. When you picture yourself getting warmer, it can encourage a parasympathetic response. That's the branch of your nervous system responsible for calming you down. The fake fever technique involves focusing on your hands, feet, or face and picturing them flushing with heat, like when you're cozy by a fire or wrapped in a blanket. Some people find it helpful to imagine a gentle, soothing warmth spreading slowly through their limbs. This isn't about actually raising your body temperature. It's a subtle visualization that convinces your brain to initiate the cooling process needed for sleep. The act of focusing on this sensation can also distract you from racing thoughts or worries. In practice, the fake fever is an easy, no-cost addition to your bedtime routine. By mentally warming your body, you help guide your physiology toward the natural drop in temperature that signals sleep time. It's a clever example of how mind and body interact, showing that sometimes the path to rest starts with a little imagination. Worry window. Stress and worries have a way of creeping into our minds just when we're trying to fall asleep. The worry window is a simple technique that helps you manage those concerns by giving them a specific, limited space in your day. The idea is to set aside a short, dedicated period, your worry window, earlier in the evening to intentionally focus on your anxieties or problems. During this time, you allow yourself to think through what's on your mind, jot down concerns, or mentally organize solutions. Once the window closes, you consciously shift away from worry and prepare for rest. Why does this help? Often, people try to suppress worries at bedtime, but this can backfire and make those thoughts louder. The worry window gives permission to acknowledge your concerns, but confines them to a controlled time frame, reducing the chance they'll invade your sleep. Practically, this could mean spending 10 to 20 minutes after dinner, reflecting on any stressors, or making a to-do list. By expressing your worries openly during this period, you're less likely to replay them endlessly when you lie down to sleep. The technique relies on the brain's ability to compartmentalize. When worries have a home in your daily schedule, your mind learns to set them aside afterward. This mental organization promotes calmness and reduces bedtime anxiety. The worry window is an easy tool to incorporate into your evening routine. It acknowledges that worries are natural, but manages them so they don't steal your rest. By creating this structured pause, you gain control over your thoughts, allowing your mind to relax and your body to prepare for deep, uninterrupted sleep. Pyjama Ritual. Changing into pajamas might seem like a small step, but it plays a surprisingly powerful role in preparing the body and mind for rest. The pyjama ritual is more than just putting on sleepwear. It's about creating a clear psychological boundary between the busyness of the day and the calm of the night. Just like work clothes signal productivity or gym clothes signal movement, pajamas are a cue for rest. When this change becomes consistent, the brain starts to associate the act with winding down. This idea builds on something called behavioral conditioning. Over time, if you always change into the same pair of pajamas before doing calming activities like reading, stretching, or listening to soft music, your brain learns that pajamas equal relaxation. That connection strengthens each night, making it easier to shift into sleep mode. But the key is in making it a ritual. That doesn't mean it needs to be complex or spiritual. It just means it's done in the same order, with some level of intention. Maybe you fold your day clothes, wash your face, and put on pajamas right after dinner. Or maybe it's the last thing you do before slipping into bed. The consistency is what builds the association. The type of pajama also matters more than people think. Comfortable, breathable fabric can prevent overheating or irritation during the night. And if you reserve your sleepwear only for sleep, it reinforces that this outfit has a specific job to help you rest. What starts as a basic nightly habit can quickly become a useful mental trigger. Over time, just the feeling of pulling on those same soft clothes can help shift the nervous system into a calmer state. It's a simple, low-effort hack that turns an ordinary moment into a reliable sleep signal. The bed is for sleep rule. If you spend hours lying in bed awake, your brain might be getting the wrong message. The bed is for sleep rule is based on a simple idea. Your brain builds associations over time. When you regularly scroll your phone, watch TV, or worry in bed, your brain starts to link that space with wakefulness instead of rest. The result is that falling asleep becomes harder, not because of stress or insomnia alone, but because the bed no longer feels like a cue for sleep. This rule comes from a behavioral approach called stimulus control. It's used in cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia and focuses on reinforcing a clear connection between your bed and sleeping. The method is straightforward. Only use your bed for sleep and, if applicable, intimacy. That's it. If you're lying awake for more than about 20 minutes, don't stay in bed. Get up, move to another room, and do something quiet and non-stimulating until you feel drowsy. Then, return to bed and try again. The point is to avoid teaching your brain that the bed is a place to be awake, frustrated, or mentally active. Over time, this creates a cleaner mental link. You lie down, and your body recognizes the cue. There's no confusion, no mixed signals, just a reliable association between your bed and falling asleep. It also helps to avoid lounging in bed during the day, even for short naps or reading. The clearer the boundary, the stronger the association becomes. The bed is not just a location, it's a behavioral signal. And keeping that signal consistent makes a big difference in how easily and deeply you sleep. The Swiss cheese method. When it comes to tackling big problems, or even just improving your sleep, sometimes the best approach is to take small, manageable steps instead of trying to fix everything at once. That's the idea behind the Swiss cheese method. Named after the famously hole-filled cheese, this method is about stacking multiple small solutions, or layers, to cover the gaps one by one. Each individual step might not be perfect or complete on its own, like a slice of Swiss cheese with holes. But when combined with others, Those holes get covered, creating a solid barrier. Applied to sleep, the Swiss cheese method means trying several small habits that each improve your rest a little bit. For example, maybe you start by dimming the lights in the evening, then add a consistent bedtime, followed by limiting caffeine intake, and later introduce a calming pre-sleep routine. None of these alone might solve your sleep struggles, but together they build a stronger foundation. The strength of this method is its flexibility. You don't need to overhaul your entire routine overnight. Instead, you pick a few easy changes and gradually add more over time, adapting what works and dropping what doesn't. This reduces overwhelm and helps you stick with better habits longer. It also acknowledges that no single solution is perfect. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes one strategy might fail on a given night. But with multiple layers in place, one small slip doesn't derail the whole plan. The Swiss cheese method turns sleep improvement into a manageable, step-by-step process. It's about progress over perfection, layering small wins to build a safer, more reliable path toward better rest. Internal narration. When your mind won't stop racing at night, the way you talk to yourself inside your head can make all the difference. That's the idea behind internal narration, the ongoing story you tell yourself quietly and continuously. Internal narration is the voice in your mind that comments on what's happening, recalls events, or imagines future scenarios. It's natural to have this inner dialogue, but when it becomes negative, repetitive, or stressful, it can keep you awake and prevent restful sleep. This concept highlights how directing your internal narration toward calm, neutral, or even positive themes can help quiet an active mind. Instead of replaying stressful events or worrying about tomorrow, you gently shift your internal story to something soothing, like narrating a peaceful walk or describing a simple, relaxing scene. For example, you might silently describe the rhythm of your breathing, the feel of your sheets, or a favorite memory. This deliberate focus anchors your mind and reduces the space for anxious or racing thoughts. The power of internal narration lies in its ability to guide your attention. Since your brain tends to follow whatever story it's hearing, choosing a slow, steady, and gentle narrative helps signal to your nervous system that it's safe to relax and prepare for sleep. Practicing mindful internal narration is easy. No equipment or special skills needed. It's about becoming aware of your inner voice and softly steering it toward calmness. This mental habit can transform bedtime from a struggle with restless thoughts into a peaceful transition. By harnessing the subtle influence of your own mind's storytelling, internal narration becomes a simple but effective tool to help you drift off more easily and enjoy deeper, more restorative sleep. Journal then sleep. Sometimes the hardest part about falling asleep is simply getting your thoughts to slow down. That's where nighttime journaling comes in. The idea is simple. Before you go to bed, take a few minutes to write things down. It could be a list of what happened today, a few things you're worried about, or even a quick plan for tomorrow. The point isn't to craft perfect sentences. It's just to move thoughts from your head onto the page. Why does this help? Because your brain is trying to hold on to open loops, unfinished tasks, unresolved conversations, things you don't want to forget. By writing them down, you're telling your brain, it's handled. That frees up mental space and reduces the background noise that can keep you wired when you're trying to wind down. There are different ways to do it. Some people prefer brain dumps, just jotting down whatever comes to mind, no structure, no filter. Others like to focus on gratitude, noting a few good things from the day. And some find it helpful to write a to-do list for tomorrow, just to stop their mind from rehearsing it all night. What matters is consistency. Keeping a notebook by your bed makes the habit easy. It's a small signal to your body that the day is over and it's safe to rest. No need to fix everything or solve every problem tonight. It's on the page, and that's enough. Journaling before bed won't erase stress, but it can give your thoughts a place to go so they don't keep circling around. For many people, that's the difference between lying in bed wide awake and actually being able to fall asleep. Solve mental jigsaw. When your mind won't switch off at night, sometimes giving it a simple, repetitive task can help ease you into sleep. That's the idea behind the mental jigsaw. The mental jigsaw is a mental exercise where you imagine putting together a jigsaw puzzle in your mind, piece by piece. Instead of focusing on real-life worries or future plans, your attention is gently redirected to assembling this imaginary puzzle. The task is simple, predictable, and low stakes, just enough to occupy your thoughts without causing stress or excitement. The beauty of this method is how it helps break the cycle of overthinking. When your brain is busy solving a quiet, repetitive problem, it can't easily get caught up in anxious or racing thoughts. This mental focus acts like a calming anchor, slowing down your mental chatter. You don't need a physical puzzle or even a visual image to try it. You might imagine a basic picture, like a blue sky or a green field, and picture how the pieces fit together. The key is to keep your mind engaged just enough to prevent wandering, but not so much that it stays alert. This technique works because it taps into the brain's love for patterns and problem solving, but without pressure or urgency. The mental jigsaw activates a relaxed mode in your brain, helping reduce stress hormones and encouraging the onset of sleep. It's an accessible tool that anyone can use, anywhere. Whether you're lying in bed or sitting quietly, imagining the slow assembly of puzzle pieces can be the mental nudge your brain needs to finally let go and drift off. Room purge. It's hard to relax when your space feels like it's closing in on you. The concept of a room purge is all about removing clutter from your bedroom so it can actually serve its purpose, helping you rest. When too much stuff piles up, your brain doesn't fully disengage. Even if you're not consciously thinking about the mess, your environment is sending subtle signals that things are unfinished or chaotic. A room purge isn't just about aesthetics, it's functional. You're creating a space that tells your body it's time to wind down. That starts with removing anything that doesn't need to be there. Laundry piles, unread mail, old chargers, empty cups. Then there are the distractions. Your laptop, unused exercise equipment, the box of random cables under the bed. If it's not directly helping you sleep, it's probably working against you. Think of it like editing. You're cutting out visual noise. The fewer things your eyes have to process, the easier it is to shift into a calm mental state. You don't need to buy organizers or redesign the room. You just need to make intentional decisions about what stays and what goes. Some people go a step further and make this a weekly habit. Every Sunday, they do a quick scan of the room, put things back where they belong, and reset the space. It's not about perfection, it's about reducing friction. A cleaner room doesn't solve everything, but it makes it easier to fall asleep without feeling overstimulated. And once you've experienced that mental clarity, it becomes obvious how much your space was affecting you in the background. Fictional commute. After a busy day, your mind might still be racing, making it hard to switch off when you get home. The fictional commute is a simple mental trick that helps you create a clear boundary between your daytime stress and your nighttime relaxation. The idea is to imagine a slow, peaceful commute from work to home, even if you didn't have one. This mental journey acts like a buffer, allowing your brain to gradually release the day's tension before you fully settle in for the evening. You can picture yourself walking down a quiet street, riding a calm bus, or driving along a scenic route. The details don't matter as much as the process, focusing on the sights, sounds and sensations of moving away from work and toward home. Maybe you notice the feel of the breeze, the colors of the sky, or the rhythm of your steps. This exercise helps in two important ways. First, it interrupts the cycle of stressful thoughts tied to unfinished tasks or worries. Second, it engages your mind in something gentle and calming, which signals to your nervous system that it's time to relax. Unlike multitasking or screen time, the fictional commute is intentional and mindful. It gives your brain permission to shift gears, lowering cortisol, the stress hormone, and increasing parasympathetic activity, which promotes rest and digestion. Even just a few minutes of this mental commute can create a sense of closure for the day. It's a portable, easy to practice routine that helps smooth the transition from busy to calm, making it easier to let go and prepare for sleep. In a world that often feels non-stop, the fictional commute offers a simple pause, a chance to arrive home in your mind before your body follows. Bedroom is for sleep. That's the logic behind turning your bedroom into a sleep-only space, a kind of personal sleep temple. It's not about making the room fancy or silent or perfectly lit. It's about making it consistent. A space where your brain knows, without hesitation, that its only job is to shut down and rest. The science behind this is called stimulus control. Your brain forms associations between places and activities. If you eat, work, scroll, and stress in bed, your brain stops linking that space with sleep. But if you consistently use your bedroom, and especially your bed, only for sleeping and resting, it becomes a trigger. Just walking into that space can start calming your system down. That starts with removing distractions. No desk, no TV, no open laptop glowing in the corner. The fewer competing activities in the room, the stronger the association becomes. Even clutter matters. A messy bedroom subtly tells your brain the environment isn't settled yet, which keeps you from relaxing fully. Light and sound also play a role. Blackout curtains, dim lighting, and consistent white noise can all help create an environment your body understands as night mode. But the foundation is behavioral. If your brain learns that entering this space means shutting off, the rest falls into place more easily. It doesn't require any special products, just a shift in how the space is used. The more tightly you guard the bedroom's purpose, the easier it becomes to sleep in it. Over time, your body picks up on the signal and starts preparing for rest as soon as you walk through the door. Book before bed. Reading a book before bed works better than most apps designed to help you sleep. That's because reading creates the conditions your brain needs to slow down. Unlike screens, which keep you alert with blue light and constant stimulation, a book offers a focused, passive activity. It draws your attention away from stress without demanding much in return. Your heart rate slows, your breathing evens out, and your thoughts stop racing in circles. This doesn't work the same way with every book. Action-packed thrillers or emotionally intense stories can keep you hooked and awake. But calmer reads, non-fiction, slow-paced fiction, or even something you've already read before, tend to work best. The goal isn't entertainment, it's disengagement. Reading gives your mind something to do while also making it easier to transition out of wake mode. Ideally, you'll want to read a physical book or use an e-reader without backlight. Bright screens, even if they're displaying a book, can still interfere with melatonin production and disrupt your sleep cycle. A small reading lamp with warm light is a better option. It also helps if you make this part of a consistent bedtime routine. When reading happens at the same time each night, your brain starts to treat it as a signal, just like brushing your teeth or turning off the lights. It becomes one more step in the process of preparing for sleep. Reading before bed doesn't need to last long. Even 10 to 15 minutes can be enough to help you disconnect from the rest of the day. It's a simple shift in habit that replaces stimulation with stillness and gives your brain a smoother path into sleep. Tidy room, tidy mind. A messy room can make it harder to fall asleep, even if you don't consciously notice it. That's the idea behind tidy room, tidy mind. It's not just about aesthetics. It's about reducing visual and mental clutter. When your bedroom is disorganized, your brain stays slightly more alert. Piles of clothes, scattered objects, and general mess act as reminders of unfinished tasks. That low-level stress can keep your nervous system in a more active state, which isn't helpful when you're trying to wind down. Your sleep environment matters. The brain is constantly scanning your surroundings for cues. A clean, simple room sends the message that it's safe to relax. A cluttered one keeps your attention fragmented, even when the lights are off. This doesn't mean you need to deep clean your entire room every night. Small changes make a big difference. Put laundry in a hamper instead of on a chair. Clear your nightstand. Close drawers and closet doors. Just a few minutes of tidying before bed can lower stimulation and make the space feel calmer. It's also helpful to keep surfaces minimal. The fewer visual distractions in your field of view, the easier it is for your brain to quiet down. Some people even go as far as removing work-related items, bright decor, or anything associated with daytime activity. Tidy surroundings also make it easier to build a consistent nighttime routine. When everything is in its place, there's less resistance to preparing for bed. The act of tidying can even become part of that routine, a short, predictable step that signals the day is winding down. A clean room won't put you to sleep on its own, but it removes one more barrier between you and rest. It creates the kind of environment your brain prefers when it's time to turn off. No heavy dinners. Eating a big, heavy dinner late in the evening can make it harder to fall asleep and stay asleep. That's because digestion doesn't just stop when you lie down. When you eat a large meal, your body has to work harder to break it down. Blood flow shifts to your digestive system, your core temperature rises slightly, and your body stays more active internally. All of that delays the natural drop in body temperature and energy that helps trigger sleep. Heavy meals also increase the risk of heartburn or acid reflux, especially when you go to bed shortly after eating. Lying flat makes it easier for stomach acid to move upward, which can lead to discomfort or even disrupted breathing while you sleep. High-fat or spicy foods are the most common triggers, but even large portions of any kind can have the same effect. The general recommendation is to finish dinner at least 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. That gives your body time to digest the bulk of the food before you lie down. Meals earlier in the evening should be balanced. Moderate portions of protein, complex carbs, and healthy fats without being overly rich or fried. If you get hungry close to bedtime, a light snack is fine. Something like a banana, a small handful of nuts, or a slice of whole grain toast won't overload your system. In fact, the right kind of snack can even support sleep by keeping your blood sugar stable overnight. The goal isn't to go to bed hungry. It's to avoid making your body do extra work at the exact time it's trying to shut down. By keeping dinners lighter and earlier, you help your digestive system and your sleep cycle stay on the same page. No news after dinner. The news doesn't go to sleep when you do, but your brain needs to. That's why the no news after dinner rule exists. It's a simple boundary that helps protect your sleep by reducing exposure to emotionally charged information in the evening. Whether it's headlines, breaking alerts, or opinion panels, most news is designed to grab your attention and keep you engaged. That's a problem when you're trying to relax. After dinner, your body is supposed to start winding down. Melatonin levels begin to rise, your heart rate slows, and your nervous system shifts gears. But watching or reading the news late in the day can trigger the opposite response. It activates your fight or flight system, raising cortisol, increasing mental activity, and delaying the natural process of falling asleep. This doesn't just apply to TV. News apps, social media feeds, or even checking headlines on your phone can have the same effect. You might not feel actively stressed in the moment, but your brain still registers the information and keeps working on it long after you've closed the app. Instead, try making dinner the cutoff point. After that, switch to lower stimulation content. Watch something light, read a book, or listen to music. You're not ignoring the world, you're choosing when to engage with it. And by setting that boundary in the evening, you give your brain the space it needs to transition into rest. If staying informed is important to you, consider reading the news earlier in the day when your brain is better equipped to process it. That small shift in timing can make your nights more peaceful without sacrificing awareness. The goal is to create a buffer between daily stress and bedtime. Cutting out the news after dinner is a straightforward way to support that buffer. NSDR stands for Non-Sleep Deep Rest. It's a simple but powerful technique for reaching a state of deep relaxation without actually falling asleep. You're not trying to knock out or drift off. You're staying awake, but allowing your body and mind to slow down dramatically. Think of it like putting your brain on airplane mode, still on, but no longer processing noise, stress, or demands. The most common form of NSDR is a guided voice recording. You lie down, close your eyes, and listen as you're walked through a series of cues. Body awareness, breath focus, and gentle attention shifts. There's no movement involved and no performance required. It's structured rest. Rest that's deliberate, not passive. NSDR works by activating the parasympathetic nervous system, the one responsible for calm, digestion, and recovery. That shift takes your body out of alert mode and helps it reset. Research shows that even short sessions can help improve memory retention, lower stress hormones, and restore energy. Some people use it midday for a mental refresh. Others use it before bed to prepare for deeper sleep. Unlike traditional meditation, NSDR doesn't ask you to concentrate or clear your thoughts. It just guides your attention gently. That makes it especially helpful for people who feel mentally restless or overstimulated. It's also used by athletes, professionals, and even students as a fast, reliable way to recover focus. All you need is a quiet space, a pair of headphones, and about 10 to 30 minutes. There's no special training, no gear, and no need to be good at relaxing. NSDR gives your brain what it rarely gets: intentional, structured downtime. No clock watching. Waking up in the middle of the night isn't a big deal until you check the time. That one glance at the clock can turn a brief wake-up into a long stretch of restlessness. The idea behind no clock watching is to avoid turning sleep into a countdown. When you check the time, your brain starts doing mental math. You calculate how many hours you have left. You judge whether you've slept enough. And you start to worry if you'll fall asleep again in time. That mental shift pulls you out of a relaxed state and into problem-solving mode. Your brain becomes more alert, not because something's wrong, but because you gave it a task. The result is that sleep becomes harder, not because of the time itself, but because of how your mind reacts to knowing it. To avoid this, Remove any visible clocks from your line of sight. That includes wall clocks, digital alarm displays, and phones. If you use your phone as an alarm, flip it face down or set it across the room. If you use a clock radio or nightstand clock, turn it away from the bed or cover the display. Not knowing the time actually helps your brain relax. Without a number to fixate on, you're more likely to treat a middle-of-the-night wake-up as temporary and unimportant. That allows your body to return to sleep more naturally, without the added pressure of a ticking clock. This technique doesn't fix sleep directly, but it removes a common trigger for insomnia-related anxiety. By staying unaware of the time, you let your body, not your brain, decide when it's ready to sleep again. And that small change can make a big difference in how quickly you drift back off. 10 p.m. rule. Most people think sleep is about how long you rest, but when you go to bed matters just as much. That's the idea behind the 10 p.m. rule. It's a guideline for setting a consistent bedtime that aligns with your body's natural rhythms. While everyone's exact timing can vary, most people experience their strongest sleep pressure between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. That's when your body is most prepared to enter deep, restorative sleep. If you stay up much later, your internal clock can drift off schedule. You might catch a second wind, feel more alert, and then struggle to fall asleep. That delay can push your entire sleep cycle out of sync, making it harder to wake up feeling rested, even if you get the same number of hours. The 10 p.m. rule isn't about strict rules or perfection. It's about creating a regular, predictable window for winding down. Going to bed at roughly the same time each night helps anchor your circadian rhythm, the internal system that regulates energy, hormone release, and sleep quality. When this rhythm is stable, your body knows when to start producing melatonin, when to cool down, and when to naturally shift into sleep mode. Sticking to a regular 10 p.m. bedtime also helps protect the morning hours, when your brain is sharpest and your energy levels are more reliable. Late nights and irregular bedtimes cut into that, often leading to grogginess or trouble concentrating the next day. This rule works best when paired with other healthy habits: dimming lights, avoiding screens, and following a wind-down routine. But even on its own, choosing a consistent cutoff point like 10 p.m. helps align your sleep with the way your body was designed to rest. It's a small decision that supports better sleep, night after night. No more nightcaps. That evening drink that seems to help you fall asleep might actually be making your sleep worse. The term nightcap refers to the habit of having an alcoholic drink before bed, often a glass of wine, whiskey, or beer, under the belief that it helps with sleep. And while it's true that alcohol can make you feel drowsy at first, what it does to your sleep later in the night is where the problem begins. Alcohol disrupts the normal architecture of sleep. It shortens the time it takes to fall asleep, but also reduces the amount of REM sleep, one of the most important stages for memory, mood, and restoration. On top of that, it fragments the rest of your night. You might fall asleep fast, but you're more likely to wake up in the early morning hours and have trouble falling back asleep. It also increases the chances of snoring and sleep apnea, because alcohol relaxes the muscles in the throat, narrowing your airways. That means even if you don't wake up fully, your brain may still be interrupted, repeatedly pulling you out of deeper sleep to keep you breathing. Many people don't connect their restless nights to that single drink because the effects aren't always obvious. But studies show even moderate evening alcohol can subtly damage sleep quality and increase next-day tiredness. And the later the drink, the more it interferes. The fix is simple. Swap the nightcap for something non-alcoholic. Herbal teas, tart cherry juice, or just water can offer a relaxing ritual without the physiological disruption. Removing alcohol from the bedtime routine often leads to deeper, more restorative sleep and a clearer, more alert feeling in the morning. Stretch before you snooze. You don't need a full workout routine to improve your sleep. Just a few simple stretches can make a noticeable difference. The idea is called stretch before you snooze, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Gentle stretching right before bed helps relax both the body and the mind. It's not about increasing flexibility or building strength. The goal is to ease physical tension and signal to your nervous system that the day is done. Most people carry tightness in their bodies without realizing it. Sitting for long periods, staring at screens, or just moving around all day builds up small amounts of muscle tension, especially in the back, neck, and legs. Left unchecked, that tightness can show up as tossing, turning, or that general restlessness that keeps you from settling down at night. Light stretching helps release that tension. It doesn't have to be complicated. A forward fold, a shoulder roll, or lying on your back with knees gently pulled in toward the chest can all help loosen up stiff areas. Even 5 minutes of movement can slow your breathing, lower your heart rate, and help shift your body into rest mode. There's also a mental component. Stretching encourages stillness and body awareness, which makes it easier to disconnect from racing thoughts. It's one of those rare habits that benefits your physical body and your state of mind at the same time. Some people even combine stretching with dim lights or calming music to make it part of a wind-down routine. It becomes a cue, a way to tell the brain, we're done for the day. Over time, this cue builds consistency, and that kind of signal, repeated night after night, helps the body learn when it's time to truly rest. No pets in bed rule. A warm, fuzzy pet curled up next to you might sound comforting, but for many people, sharing the bed with animals comes at the cost of quality sleep. That's where the no pets in bed rule comes in. The idea is simple. Keep your bed a pet-free zone to improve your sleep environment. This doesn't mean you love your pet any less. It's about drawing a clear line between companionship and rest. Pets move, snore, scratch, and shift around during the night. Even small disruptions like these can interrupt your sleep cycles, often without you fully waking up. Over time, these micro-disturbances add up, leading to more daytime fatigue and less restorative rest. There's also the issue of allergens. Even if you're not allergic, pet dander, fur, and outdoor debris can collect in bedding, potentially irritating your skin, nose, or eyes. For people with asthma or sinus sensitivity, keeping pets off the bed can make a noticeable difference in nighttime breathing comfort. Another consideration is consistency. Pets don't always follow the same sleep patterns as humans. They might be alert in the middle of the night or want to go in and out of the room. That can train you to wake up more often, especially if you're a light sleeper. Instead, many pet owners set up a cozy pet bed nearby, on the floor or a chair, so the pet is close but not interfering with rest. With a bit of routine, most pets adapt quickly. In the long run, this boundary can benefit both you and your animal companion. They get their own space and you get yours, one that supports deeper, uninterrupted sleep. Breathe through the belly. Most people breathe through their chest without even realizing it. But if you've ever watched a baby sleep, you'll notice their belly rises and falls with each breath. That's how we're designed to breathe, through the belly, not the chest. Breathe through the belly refers to diaphragmatic breathing, a technique that activates the diaphragm muscle located below the lungs. When used properly, this method draws air deeper into the lungs, expands the abdomen outward, and helps the body shift into a more relaxed state. Chest breathing, which many people default to, is shallow. It draws air into the upper lungs, which can keep the body in a state of low-level stress. Belly breathing, on the other hand, stimulates the vagus nerve, a key player in calming the nervous system. It's one of the fastest ways to downshift from fight or flight mode into rest and digest mode. To do it, you simply place a hand on your stomach and another on your chest. As you inhale, the goal is to move the hand on your belly while keeping the hand on your chest still. It might feel unnatural at first, especially if your body is used to shallow breathing, but with practice, it becomes automatic. Even a few minutes of belly breathing before bed can make a difference. It slows the heart rate, lowers blood pressure, and helps quiet racing thoughts. That's why it's used in so many sleep routines, meditation sessions, and even medical recovery programs. This isn't just a technique for yogis or mindfulness experts. It's a built-in switch most people forget they have. Learning to use it effectively can be a low-effort, high-impact way to fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. No talking after 9 rule. Some homes have a no shoes rule, others have a no phones rule. But there's another habit worth considering, the no talking after 9 rule. This simple rule means exactly what it sounds like: no casual conversations, deep discussions, or last-minute problem solving after 9 p.m. It's not about being antisocial. It's about protecting your brain from stimulation at the exact time it's supposed to be winding down. Talking, especially anything emotional or even mildly intense, activates the mind. It pulls your focus outward, raises your alertness, and often triggers problem-solving processes. Even light-hearted chatter can keep your brain on standby, waiting for the next joke, question, or reaction. The idea behind this rule is to treat your brain like your body. Just as you wouldn't expect your muscles to relax while sprinting, you can't expect your mind to relax while it's still processing a conversation. Cutting off dialogue at a fixed time helps establish a boundary. It signals to your nervous system that the day is done. Of course, this doesn't mean total silence. You can still listen to music, journal, read, or stretch. But the absence of verbal exchange gives your thoughts time to settle. It lowers cognitive load. This is especially helpful for anyone prone to racing thoughts or difficulty falling asleep. Some people pair the rule with other habits, like dimming the lights or switching to softer activities. Over time, the brain begins to associate that quiet stretch of the evening with sleep preparation. And that consistency matters, because while sleep tips come and go, the most effective ones all share a theme: less stimulation, more structure, and a clear signal that it's time to rest. The no talking after 9 rule is one small shift that can make a big difference. 10-minute tidy. It's surprising how much mental clutter can come from just a little physical mess. The 10-minute tidy is exactly what it sounds like: a short, focused cleanup session right before bed. The idea isn't to deep clean or scrub floors. It's just about resetting your space so that when you wake up, everything feels calm and ready to go. Here's how it works. Set a timer for 10 minutes. That's your only commitment. You're not organizing the garage or sorting your wardrobe. You're just putting things back where they belong. Maybe you clear off your nightstand, fold a few clothes, wipe down the kitchen counter, or return shoes to the rack. Whatever's out of place goes back in place. This small routine does 2 things. First, it gives your brain a sense of order. Cluttered spaces can keep your mind slightly activated, especially when you're trying to relax. A tidy room makes the transition to sleep smoother. Second, it reduces the chaos you'll face the next morning. Waking up to a clean room saves mental energy. No piles of laundry or messes competing for your attention. It also helps reinforce the idea of closure. When you take a few minutes to tidy, you're telling yourself, the day is done. You're closing the loop, wrapping things up, and preparing your environment for rest. And because it's just 10 minutes, it's easy to build into your routine. You can even listen to music or a podcast while doing it. Over time, this tiny habit can have a big impact, not just on your space, but on your mental clarity. The 10-minute tidy isn't about perfection. It's about setting the tone for rest by removing the noise you don't need. Drink smart. Stop at 8. It's easy to think that staying hydrated all day means drinking right up until bedtime. But if you're waking up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom, the real issue might be when you're drinking, not how much. The drink smart, stop at 8 rule is a simple shift in timing. It means finishing your last glass of water, or any liquid, by around 8 p.m. The goal is to give your body enough time to process fluids before you go to sleep. That way, your bladder isn't calling the shots at 2 in the morning. Here's how it works. After you drink water, your kidneys start filtering it into urine almost immediately. But depending on how much you've had, it can take a few hours for everything to cycle through. If your last glass is too close to bedtime, you're more likely to wake up for a bathroom trip. And even if you fall back asleep quickly, those interruptions can knock you out of deep sleep stages, which are critical for rest and recovery. This trick doesn't mean you have to drink less overall. It just means front-loading your hydration earlier in the day. Drink water with breakfast, keep sipping through the afternoon, but gradually taper off in the evening. If you're thirsty after 8, a small sip is fine. Just avoid full glasses or heavy herbal teas that act as diuretics. The result? Fewer disruptions, longer stretches of uninterrupted sleep, and better mornings. Timing your hydration is one of those small changes that feels almost too simple, but it makes a real difference. Drinking smart isn't about cutting back, it's about knowing when to stop. Socks in winter, bare feet in summer. If your feet are the wrong temperature, your whole body notices, and that includes your sleep. The idea behind socks in winter, bare feet in summer is as simple as it sounds. In colder months, wearing socks to bed can help you fall asleep faster. In warmer months, skipping socks, or even sleeping with your feet out from under the covers, can help you stay cool and comfortable through the night. Here's why this matters. Your body temperature isn't constant. It naturally drops in the evening as your brain signals it's time to sleep. Warming up your feet in winter, usually with cozy socks, helps dilate blood vessels, which in turn helps redistribute heat and cool your core faster. That process makes it easier for you to doze off. But in the summer, it's the opposite problem. Heat gets trapped under blankets, and your feet, packed with blood vessels close to the surface, are a great way to release that excess warmth. Letting them breathe without socks can help your body cool down more efficiently, which promotes deeper and more restful sleep. This isn't just about comfort. Thermoregulation is tightly connected to sleep quality. If your core stays too warm or too cold, it interferes with your natural circadian rhythm. People often try to fix sleep issues with supplements or routines, but something as basic as adjusting your sleepwear based on the season can have just as big an impact. So the next time your sleep feels off, don't just think about what you're doing. Consider what your feet are wearing. A simple seasonal swap can help your body do what it's already trying to do on its own. Fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up feeling rested. No more snoozing. Hitting the snooze button might feel like a small act of kindness to yourself, but it can actually make waking up harder and leave you feeling groggier throughout the day. The No More Snoozing rule is about breaking that cycle. Instead of allowing multiple alarms and extra bursts of fragmented sleep, you get up as soon as your first alarm goes off. This approach helps avoid what's known as sleep inertia, the heavy, foggy feeling you get when waking up from a deep sleep or repeatedly falling back asleep for short periods. When you hit snooze, your body tries to restart a new sleep cycle, but it usually gets interrupted just before it completes. That partial sleep is confusing for your brain and leaves you in a groggy state. Rather than refreshing you, those extra minutes can actually make you feel more tired and less alert. Stopping the snooze habit means setting a realistic wake-up time and trusting that getting up right away is better than squeezing in questionable extra sleep. It also encourages better bedtime habits. Knowing you won't be snoozing can motivate you to go to bed earlier or improve your sleep quality, so waking up feels more natural. Some people find practical ways to help, like placing their alarm clock across the room, forcing themselves to physically get out of bed. Others use alarms that simulate sunrise or play gentle music to wake them gradually, making the first moments of waking less jarring. At its core, the No More Snoozing rule is about respecting your body's natural rhythms and avoiding unnecessary disruption. It's a straightforward change that can have a big impact on morning energy, mood, and overall sleep health. No overthinking rule. Your mind can be your best friend or your worst enemy at bedtime, especially when it starts spinning with endless thoughts. The no overthinking rule is a simple but powerful guideline. When you get into bed, you commit to letting go of rumination, worry, and problem solving. Overthinking keeps your brain stuck in alert mode, making it harder to relax and drift off. At its core, this rule is about recognizing that bedtime isn't the right time to untangle complex issues or rehearse conversations. Instead, it's a moment for mental rest. Overthinking often involves looping thoughts, replaying mistakes, forecasting worst-case scenarios, or endlessly analyzing decisions. This pattern activates the stress response, releasing hormones like cortisol that interfere with sleep. Breaking this cycle requires a shift in mindset. One way to do this is by setting a mental boundary. When you notice your thoughts spiraling, you gently remind yourself that these thoughts can wait until morning. You don't have to silence your mind completely. That's unrealistic. But you can choose not to engage. Practical tools support this rule. Journaling earlier in the evening can help offload worries. Guided meditation or deep breathing can redirect focus away from racing thoughts. Some people find it helpful to have a worry box, where they jot down concerns and physically set them aside before bed. The no overthinking rule isn't about ignoring problems. It's about giving your brain permission to rest. When you stop feeding anxious thoughts at night, your nervous system can calm down, and you can enter deeper, more restorative sleep. It's a small mental adjustment with a big impact on how easily and peacefully you fall asleep. Quiet the room mission. The sounds around you have a bigger impact on your sleep than you might realize. The quiet the room mission is about creating a calm, noise-free environment that helps your brain settle into rest. Noise can come from all directions. Traffic outside, a humming air conditioner, noisy neighbors, or even the ticking of a clock. These sounds may not fully wake you, but they can interrupt your sleep cycles or keep your brain alert just enough to prevent deep rest. The mission starts with identifying what noises affect your sleep. Some are obvious, like a barking dog or loud music. Others are subtle, like the constant buzz of electronics or the creak of a ceiling fan. Once you know the sources, the next step is to reduce or eliminate them where possible. Practical solutions include using earplugs or white noise machines, which create a steady, soothing background sound that masks disruptive noises. Closing windows, adding rugs or heavy curtains, and sealing gaps indoors can also help reduce external sounds. Sometimes, the goal isn't complete silence, but consistent, gentle noise that your brain can tune out. This is why many people prefer a fan or nature sounds over total quiet. It provides a predictable audio environment that prevents sudden disturbances. The Quiet the Room mission isn't about perfection. It's about awareness and action. Even small changes can make a big difference in how sound influences your sleep quality. By managing noise levels thoughtfully, you're helping your brain move smoothly from wakefulness to deep, restorative sleep. It's a practical step that transforms your bedroom into a true sanctuary for rest. Tart cherry time. Tart cherry juice isn't just a trendy health drink. It's one of the few foods shown to naturally support better sleep. Unlike most fruits, tart cherries contain a small but measurable amount of melatonin. That's the hormone your body produces to regulate the sleep-wake cycle. Normally, melatonin levels start rising in the evening, telling your brain it's time to rest. But for people with inconsistent rhythms or delayed sleep, that process doesn't always happen smoothly. That's where tart cherry juice comes in. Studies have found that drinking tart cherry juice in the evening can slightly increase melatonin levels and help people fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. It's not a powerful sedative. You won't feel knocked out. But the extra melatonin gives your body a little boost, making it easier to wind down. It's also rich in antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds, which may help with muscle recovery and reduce nighttime aches, especially helpful if pain or restlessness is interfering with sleep. The usual recommendation is to drink around 8 ounces of tart cherry juice once in the morning and again 1 to 2 hours before bed. It's important to look for 100% tart cherry juice, not sweetened or blended versions, since those can include added sugars that counteract the benefits. Tart cherry juice works best when paired with a consistent evening routine. Think of it as one helpful part of a bigger system, something that supports the body's natural timing instead of overriding it. It's a food-based option that doesn't require pills, and for many people, it's a small change that leads to a noticeable improvement in sleep quality. Early light reset. The way you start your morning has a direct impact on how easily you fall asleep at night. Your body runs on a circadian rhythm, a roughly 24-hour internal clock that tells you when to wake up, when to feel alert, and when to wind down. One of the biggest inputs that clock relies on is light, specifically natural light early in the day. That's the idea behind an early light reset. By getting outside and exposing your eyes to sunlight within the first hour of waking up, you send a strong signal to your brain. This is morning. Let's start the clock. That early exposure helps regulate your melatonin production. It boosts alertness during the day and ensures that melatonin kicks in on time later at night. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just stepping outside for 10 to 15 minutes can make a difference. You don't need direct sun or clear skies. Natural daylight is still much stronger than indoor lighting, even on a cloudy day. If going outside isn't practical, sitting near a bright window can help, though it may take a little longer. For people who wake up before sunrise or live in darker climates, a light therapy box is an alternative. These devices mimic the intensity and spectrum of early morning sunlight and can be used indoors for 20 to 30 minutes each day. The key is consistency. The earlier and more regularly you expose yourself to morning light, the more accurately your body can time its internal rhythms. That leads to deeper sleep, fewer delays in feeling tired at night, and better energy during the day. It's a simple daily habit that resets your internal clock using nothing more than light. Peppermint Oil Trick. Peppermint is usually linked to energy and alertness, but in small controlled doses, it can also support relaxation, especially when used the right way. That's the idea behind the Peppermint Oil Trick. While most essential oils for sleep focus on calming scents like lavender, peppermint can work differently. It doesn't sedate you, but it helps clear physical and mental tension that can keep you from falling asleep comfortably. The key is how it affects your breathing. Peppermint oil contains menthol, which has a cooling effect on the body and helps open up airways. That makes it easier to take slow, deep breaths, something your nervous system relies on to shift into rest mode. For people who feel slightly congested at night or tend to breathe shallowly when anxious, this can make a noticeable difference. You don't need much. Just a drop or two on a tissue placed near your pillow, or diluted oil lightly dabbed on your temples, neck, or chest. Some people prefer adding a drop to a warm foot bath, letting the vapor rise gently as they relax. The scent is crisp but short-lived, which makes it ideal for creating a brief moment of focus and physical relief without overstimulation. Used sparingly, peppermint oil acts more like a reset button than a sedative. It clears mental clutter and physical tightness so you can ease into the rest of your routine. It's especially useful when your body feels wound up, but your mind is tired, or when you need a quick way to transition out of tension without relying on stronger sleep aids. It's not about knocking yourself out. It's about helping your body get out of its own way so sleep can happen naturally. No fluorescents allowed. Fluorescent lights are great for offices and grocery stores, but they don't belong in your bedroom. That's the idea behind no fluorescents allowed, a simple rule that helps create a more sleep-friendly environment. Fluorescent lighting is bright, intense, and heavy on blue light, which sends a strong message to your brain. Stay alert. That's useful during the day, but at night it can interfere with the body's ability to wind down. Light is one of the main cues your brain uses to regulate melatonin, the hormone responsible for making you feel sleepy. When your eyes are exposed to bright, cool-toned light in the evening, melatonin release is delayed. That means it takes longer to fall asleep, and the quality of sleep can be disrupted, even if you're not consciously bothered by the lighting. Fluorescent bulbs, LED ceiling panels, and daylight spectrum lamps all produce this kind of disruptive light. The fix is simple. Swap them out for softer, warmer options. Look for light bulbs labeled warm white, or with a color temperature around 2700 Kelvin. These bulbs give off a glow that's closer to firelight or sunset, which your brain interprets as safe and restful. You don't need to overhaul your entire lighting system. A few warm lamps in key places, by the bed, near your reading chair, or in the hallway, can give you enough light to function at night without overstimulating your brain. And if your overhead light is harsh, just stop using it in the evening. Reducing artificial brightness at night helps your body stick to its natural rhythm. It's not about darkness all the time. It's about lighting that supports rest instead of fighting against it. Making that change starts with one simple rule: no fluorescence where you sleep. Sleep playlist shuffle. Silence isn't always the easiest way to fall asleep. For many people, the right sounds make all the difference. That's where a sleep playlist comes in. Instead of trying to fall asleep in total quiet, or worse, with background noise you can't control, you use sound intentionally. A sleep playlist is a custom set of slow, low-stimulation tracks that help your brain disconnect from the day and transition into rest. The goal is to create a consistent, calming sound environment. This could include instrumental music, ambient soundscapes, nature recordings, or low-tempo electronic music. The key is choosing tracks without sharp volume changes, sudden rhythms, or lyrics that draw too much attention. You want something predictable but not distracting. When used regularly, your playlist becomes a kind of audio cue. Your brain starts to recognize it as part of your nightly routine. Much like dimming the lights or brushing your teeth, it signals the shift from active mode to rest mode. Shuffle mode helps prevent your brain from memorizing a fixed order of songs. That unpredictability can keep you from anticipating when the playlist ends or thinking too much about what comes next. It also prevents overfamiliarity, which can reduce the calming effect over time. You don't need a special app. Most streaming platforms have built-in sleep playlists, or you can build your own based on what works for you. Start with 30 to 60 minutes of content and adjust based on how quickly you usually fall asleep. It's not about finding the perfect song. It's about building a sound environment that helps your body and mind slow down. A good playlist won't entertain you. It will blend into the background and gently carry you towards sleep. 2 blankets, 1 sheet hack. Sharing a bed sounds cozy until the blankets become a nightly battle. That's where the 2 blankets, 1 sheet hack comes in. It's a simple setup that solves one of the most common sleep disruptors: uneven comfort between bed partners. One person runs hot, the other runs cold. One likes the blanket tucked in, the other needs it loose. Instead of compromising all night long, this method gives each person their own top blanket, while still sharing the same fitted sheet underneath. The structure is straightforward. You start with a single fitted sheet over the mattress, just like normal. But instead of layering one shared duvet or comforter on top, you give each person their own separate blanket or quilt. That could mean 2 lightweight blankets, or 1 heavier and 1 lighter, depending on personal preference. This setup avoids blanket tug-of-war and reduces the chances of waking up from temperature swings or sudden movements. Each person can adjust their own layer without disturbing the other. It also helps with sleep position freedom. Rolling over or pulling the covers tighter won't affect the other side of the bed. It's especially helpful for people with different sleep schedules or sensitivities. If one person tends to wake up during the night or gets hot easily, they're not stuck trying to adapt to a shared setup. They have their own micro-environment to work with. Visually, it still looks tidy. You can top everything with a decorative cover or shared bedspread if needed. The comfort and independence stay hidden underneath. This isn't about separating sleep. It's about customizing it quietly. The 2 blankets, 1 sheet method is one of those small fixes that make sharing a bed smoother, more comfortable, and a lot less stressful. Glycine for the win. If you've ever struggled to fall asleep, even when you're tired, glycine might be worth a look. Glycine is an amino acid. Your body naturally makes it, and you also get it from foods like meat, eggs, and legumes. It's known for playing a role in building proteins, but researchers have discovered something else. It can help you sleep better, not by knocking you out like a sedative, but by gently nudging your body into a more sleep-friendly state. Here's how it works. Glycine slightly lowers your core body temperature. That's important because as your body cools down, it becomes easier to fall asleep. This cooling effect doesn't just make you feel drowsy. It actually helps your body transition into deeper, more restorative sleep stages. Glycine also seems to influence certain neurotransmitters in the brain. Specifically, it can enhance the effect of GABA, which is a chemical that calms your nervous system. Think of it as reducing background noise in your brain. That helps with falling asleep, but also improves the quality of sleep you get once you're out. Most people who use glycine as a sleep aid take about 3 grams of it around 30 to 60 minutes before bed. You can find it in powder or capsule form. It's flavorless, mixes easily with water, and doesn't leave you groggy in the morning like some sleep medications. Unlike stronger interventions, glycine doesn't try to override your body's natural rhythm. It just supports what's already supposed to happen, cooling down, calming down, and winding down. For something so small, it plays a surprisingly big role in helping your body reset for the night. Melatonin timing. Melatonin supplements are one of the most common go-to solutions for people trying to fall asleep faster. But what most people don't realize is that when you take it matters just as much as if you take it. Melatonin is a hormone your brain naturally produces in response to darkness. It doesn't knock you out like a sleeping pill. Instead, it tells your body that it's time to start getting sleepy. Think of it like a signal, not a sedative. So if you're taking it right before bed, you might be missing its full effect. The timing depends on your internal clock or circadian rhythm. For most people, melatonin production naturally ramps up about 2 hours before their usual bedtime. That means the best time to take a supplement is about 90 minutes before you plan to sleep, not 5 minutes before you shut off the lights. The dosage also plays a role. Many people assume more is better, but in most cases, lower doses, between 0.3 and 1 milligram, are more effective than high ones. Larger doses can lead to grogginess the next day or disrupt your natural rhythm over time. Melatonin is especially useful if your body's clock is off. For example, if you're dealing with jet lag, shift work, or an inconsistent sleep schedule. In these cases, timed melatonin can help shift your rhythm earlier or later depending on when you take it. But even then, it's not a fix-all. It works best when combined with other sleep-supporting habits, like dimming lights and cutting off screens at night. In short, melatonin isn't magic, it's a tool. And like any tool, it works best when used correctly, with good timing, in the right amount, and for the right purpose. Salt lamp glow. A salt lamp might look like simple decor, but the warm glow it gives off can actually play a useful role in creating a better sleep environment. The idea behind a salt lamp is straightforward. It's a light source that uses a chunk of Himalayan salt and a low-watt bulb. But the reason it's gained popularity in bedrooms has less to do with the salt and more to do with the kind of light it produces. Unlike bright white bulbs or overhead fluorescents, a salt lamp gives off a soft amber light that's much gentler on your eyes and your nervous system, especially in the hour or so before bed. This matters because the body's internal clock, or circadian rhythm, is strongly influenced by light. Bright blue light from phones, tablets, and regular LEDs can signal to the brain that it's still daytime, making it harder to feel sleepy. But amber light, like the kind from a salt lamp, mimics the warmer tones of a sunset. That sends a very different message. It's time to wind down. Using a salt lamp in the evening can help create a slower, calmer atmosphere in the room. It's not about making the whole space bright. It's about having just enough light to read, stretch, or talk without overstimulating your brain. Think of it as ambient light, not task lighting. While the claims about salt lamps purifying the air or releasing negative ions aren't strongly supported by science, their role in setting the tone for sleep is more practical than mystical. It's a simple swap. Trade out harsh lighting for a low, warm glow and let that signal to your body that the day is winding down. The effect isn't dramatic, but it's consistent, and that consistency can make all the difference. Essential oil rollerball trick. Rubbing a bit of oil on your wrist might not sound like a sleep hack, but the essential oil rollerball trick is a surprisingly effective tool for winding down. It's simple. You take a small rollerball bottle filled with a diluted blend of essential oils and apply it to areas like your wrists, temples, or neck before bed. The scent is released slowly and subtly, giving your brain a consistent, calming signal that it's time to rest. Think of it like a portable bedtime cue, except instead of a sound or light, it's smell. Why does this work? Our sense of smell is directly connected to the brain's limbic system, which helps regulate emotions, memory, and stress response. Certain scents, like lavender, chamomile, and bergamot, have been shown to promote relaxation. When these oils are absorbed through the skin or inhaled, they can help lower heart rate, reduce stress levels, and ease the body into a more restful state. The rollerball makes the process clean and controlled. Unlike a diffuser that fills an entire room, the rollerball allows for personal use without affecting others in your space. It's also mess-free and easy to travel with, which makes it ideal for maintaining a bedtime routine anywhere you go. Some people use one blend consistently to build a sleep association, while others switch based on how they're feeling. Either way, the act of applying the oil itself can become part of a wind-down ritual, something your brain starts to recognize as the signal to slow down. It's not meant to knock you out instantly, but used regularly, the essential oil rollerball trick can help reduce bedtime stress and ease the transition into sleep, one scent at a time. Weighted eye pillow. A small bean-filled pouch might not look like much, but for many people, a weighted eye pillow is the missing piece in their nighttime routine. The idea behind it is simple. Apply gentle, even pressure across your eyes and brow to signal the body to relax. This technique, known as deep pressure stimulation, is the same principle used in weighted blankets, just scaled down for your face. It works by calming the nervous system, slowing the heart rate, reducing muscle tension, and encouraging a shift into a parasympathetic state, which is your body's natural rest and digest mode. A weighted eye pillow also helps block out light, which supports melatonin production. Even small amounts of ambient light, from street lights, chargers, or hallway lamps, can confuse the brain and interfere with the natural sleep cycle. By keeping everything completely dark, an eye pillow helps your brain get the message that it's time to wind down. Some versions go a step further and include calming scents like lavender or chamomile. These scents aren't just relaxing, they've been studied for their potential to reduce anxiety and improve sleep quality when used consistently. It's not just for nighttime either. People use weighted eye pillows during yoga, meditation, or short naps to help drop into relaxation faster. The effect is subtle but noticeable, especially when combined with other sleep-friendly habits like dim lighting and quiet surroundings. Overall, a weighted eye pillow is a low-tech, low-effort tool that offers a gentle push toward better rest. It doesn't require setup, charging, or even much thought. You just lie back, place it over your eyes, and let the weight do its work. Silk pillowcase coolness. If you've ever flipped your pillow over in the middle of the night to find the cool side, you already understand the idea behind silk pillowcase coolness. Silk pillowcases are more than just a luxury item. They actually serve a functional purpose in helping you sleep better. Unlike cotton, which absorbs moisture and traps heat, silk has a naturally smooth and breathable structure. That means it doesn't hold onto body heat the same way. Instead, it allows for better airflow, helping your skin stay cool and dry throughout the night. The coolness of a silk pillowcase isn't just about comfort. Your body relies on subtle temperature changes to know when it's time to wind down. As your core temperature drops in the evening, cooler bedding materials can help support that process. When your face rests on a surface that stays cool instead of trapping warmth, it can reinforce that natural cue for rest. Beyond temperature, silk has other benefits too. It's gentler on skin and hair, reducing friction that can lead to tangles or irritation. That's part of the reason why people with sensitive skin or curly hair often switch to silk. A silk pillowcase doesn't actively cool you like a device or gel pad would, but it works passively, by not interfering with your body's natural cooling process. And since it's something you use every night, the consistency can make a difference. There's no complicated setup or routine to follow. You just swap your pillowcase. For people who run warm or who wake up with damp skin or messy hair, it's a small change that can deliver real comfort. It's one of those quiet upgrades that improve sleep without you needing to think about it again. Listen, ASMR. Not everyone needs total silence to fall asleep. In fact, for many people, the right kind of sound can be the fastest way to calm the brain, and that's where bedtime ASMR comes in. ASMR stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. It's a physical sensation, often described as a gentle tingle that starts at the scalp and moves down the spine. But even if you don't get that tingling feeling, ASMR content can still be incredibly effective for relaxation. The sounds are slow, soft, and repetitive, designed to lower stress and ease the transition into sleep. Common ASMR triggers include whispering, tapping, soft brushing sounds, or quiet personal attention scenarios, like someone pretending to give you a haircut or read you a bedtime story. The key is that these sounds are low stimulation but high in focus. They pull your attention just enough to drown out internal noise, but not so much that your brain stays active. What makes bedtime ASMR work is its combination of predictability and intimacy. Unlike a TV show or a podcast, ASMR doesn't follow a dramatic arc. There's no suspense, no loud peaks. It's steady, repetitive. It creates an almost meditative state by design. Some people fall asleep to classic ASMR creators on platforms like YouTube. Others prefer curated playlists on audio streaming services that skip the role play and stick to gentle sounds, like soft rain on a tent, fingers brushing against fabric, or the crinkle of paper. To use it effectively, set a timer so the audio stops after an hour, or choose a playlist that ends on its own. Headphones aren't necessary unless you're trying to block out external noise. Otherwise, low-volume playback from a nearby speaker works best. The point is to create a soothing auditory environment that's just quiet enough to let your mind unwind. Almond butter toast trick. Sometimes the best sleep trick isn't a supplement or a gadget, it's a slice of toast. The almond butter toast trick is a simple, practical way to ease your body into sleep, especially if you tend to wake up hungry at night or struggle to fall asleep on an empty stomach. The idea is to have a small, balanced snack about 30 to 60 minutes before bed, something that helps stabilize blood sugar without spiking it. Almond butter and toast work well together because they cover two key components. The toast, preferably whole grain, gives you complex carbohydrates. These help transport tryptophan, an amino acid linked to melatonin production, across the blood-brain barrier. Meanwhile, almond butter provides healthy fats and protein, which helps slow digestion and keep blood sugar levels steady through the night. This isn't about eating a full meal before bed. It's about giving your body just enough fuel to prevent a midnight crash in blood sugar, which is one of the lesser-known reasons people wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. feeling restless or wide awake. A small snack can prevent that dip. Some people also find it mentally relaxing. It becomes part of a calming nighttime routine. Toast, warm and familiar, can signal that things are slowing down. You're not rushing or multitasking. You're doing something slow and specific that serves one purpose: helping your body feel settled. This trick isn't exclusive to almond butter. Some use peanut butter or even a slice of cheese on crackers. But the almond butter toast version has the right mix of nutrition, comfort, and timing. It's easy to try, doesn't require a trip to the store, and for some, it turns out to be one of the most quietly effective sleep hacks out there. Scented shower steam. A warm shower before bed can be relaxing on its own, but when you add scent to the steam, it becomes something else entirely. A simple trick that turns your bathroom into a calming space, almost like a mini spa. This is the idea behind scented shower steam. It's about using the natural steam from your shower as a delivery system for calming aromas. The steam carries the scent into the air, making it easier to breathe in and absorb without any extra effort. You're already taking a shower, so this method doesn't add any time to your routine. It just makes it more effective at helping your body wind down. There are a few easy ways to do it. One of the most popular is using shower steamers, small, tablet-like aromatherapy pods you place on the floor of the shower. As the hot water hits them, they release scents like eucalyptus, lavender, or chamomile. Another option is adding a few drops of essential oil to the back wall of the shower, somewhere away from direct water flow, or placing a washcloth with a drop or two of oil on a ledge or in a soap dish. The key is picking the right scent. Lavender is known for calming the nervous system. Eucalyptus can clear your breathing and help you feel more grounded. And citrus oils, used lightly, can lift your mood without being overstimulating. The effect is subtle, but surprisingly effective. The heat opens up your airways, and the scent hits you in a way that's more immersive than just lighting a candle. It's a practical, low-effort upgrade to your nighttime routine that combines warmth, aroma, and relaxation, all in one step. Consume sleep content. Some nights, your thoughts won't let you go. You've turned off the lights, the room is quiet, but your mind is still busy sorting out the day, planning tomorrow, or replaying things that don't need to be revisited. That's where intentional sleep content makes a difference. Instead of silence or background noise, this kind of content gives your mind a low-effort cognitive task, just enough to pull your attention away from spirals, but not enough to keep you awake. Think of it like gentle mental scaffolding. It's not designed to entertain or stimulate. It's designed to guide your focus towards something calming, structured, and safe. That could mean a voice explaining a soft topic in a slow rhythm. It could mean learning something abstract with no urgency, like ancient philosophy, the science of dreams, or a slow breakdown of forgotten history. The goal isn't to stay engaged. It's to follow just long enough for your brain to settle. The rhythm of the words, the pacing, the tone, it all cues your nervous system to wind down. You're giving your mind a track to follow so it doesn't chase its own tail. This approach is especially helpful for analytical thinkers. If you tend to overprocess or mentally rehearse before bed, giving your brain a calm, structured idea to hold on to can reduce the noise. You're not forcing it to sleep. You're inviting it to shift modes. Unlike entertainment, which pulls you in, or silence, which leaves space for overthinking, intentional sleep content meets you in the middle. It creates a soft landing, not by dulling your thoughts, but by offering them somewhere quiet to rest. Darkness test. If you close your eyes in bed and still see a hint of light through your eyelids, your room might be too bright for quality sleep. That's the basic idea behind the darkness test. Sleep researchers have known for years that darkness isn't just a preference. It's a biological signal. When your brain senses darkness, it ramps up melatonin production, the hormone that helps regulate your sleep cycle. Even small amounts of light, like a digital clock, a hallway bulb, or street lights leaking through curtains, can reduce melatonin levels and disrupt your ability to fall or stay asleep. The darkness test is simple. Once the lights are off, sit or lie still and give your eyes a few minutes to adjust. Then check. Can you still make out shapes in the room? Can you see the outline of furniture, the glow of electronics, or light coming from under the door? If yes, your sleep environment probably isn't as dark as it should be. This matters because even if you're used to sleeping in a room with some light, your brain never fully adapts. You might be falling asleep slower, waking up more often, or getting lighter sleep than you realize. Fixing it doesn't require expensive equipment. It could be as simple as unplugging chargers with glowing indicators, covering light sources with electrical tape, or using blackout curtains to block ambient light from outside. Some people even go a step further and use a sleep mask to simulate total darkness, especially in shared spaces or while traveling. It's not about creating a pitch-black cave, just minimizing unnecessary stimulation, so your body gets the clearest possible signal that it's time to rest. The darkness test is a quick way to spot the problem and take control of your sleep environment. Weighted hug pillow. Some nights, the hardest part of falling asleep isn't a racing mind or background noise. It's just not feeling settled. That's where the weighted hug pillow comes in. It's exactly what it sounds like, a heavy, body-sized pillow designed to wrap around or press against your body like a comforting embrace. The basic idea is rooted in something called deep pressure stimulation. When the body feels gentle, evenly distributed weight, like a firm hug or a heavy blanket, it responds by calming the nervous system. Heart rate slows, muscles relax. The brain starts releasing calming neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. These are the same feel-good chemicals that help regulate mood, anxiety, and sleep. A weighted hug pillow brings that same effect, but with more flexibility. Unlike a weighted blanket, which just lies on top of you, the pillow can be hugged, tucked between the knees, or curled around the torso. It offers a more interactive kind of comfort, which can be especially helpful for people who sleep on their sides or who tend to toss and turn. For people who experience anxiety, sensory sensitivity, or even just loneliness at night, the pressure of a weighted hug pillow can make the bed feel safer and more secure. It's a tactile signal to the body that everything is okay, that it's time to let go of tension. Most weighted hug pillows weigh between 5 and 15 pounds, depending on their size and purpose. Some are shaped like long bolsters, others like human arms or full body wraps. But the purpose is the same, to give your body something to press against and relax into. And in the world of sleep, sometimes that physical reassurance is what makes the mental part a little easier. Light snack rule. Going to bed hungry isn't fun, but neither is falling asleep with a full stomach. That's where the light snack rule comes in, a simple guideline for eating just enough before bed to feel comfortable without disrupting your sleep. The idea is to have a small, balanced snack if you're hungry before bedtime, but to keep it light and easy to digest. Eating a heavy meal too close to sleep can cause discomfort, indigestion, or acid reflux, all of which can interfere with falling and staying asleep. On the other hand, skipping food entirely when you're hungry might lead to waking up in the middle of the night or feeling restless. A good bedtime snack often includes a combination of protein and carbohydrates. For example, a small bowl of yogurt with fruit, a piece of whole grain toast with almond butter, or a handful of nuts with a few berries. These options provide nutrients that support the production of serotonin and melatonin, hormones that regulate mood and sleep. Timing matters too. The snack should be consumed about 30 to 60 minutes before bed, giving your body time to digest without feeling weighed down. Avoid sugary or highly processed foods that can spike your blood sugar and leave you wired instead of relaxed. This rule helps balance hunger and comfort, making it easier to drift off peacefully. It's a flexible approach. Some nights you might not need a snack at all, while other evenings a small bite can prevent sleep disruptions. The light snack rule is less about strict dieting and more about tuning in to your body's needs while supporting better rest. Curtain check. Your bedroom curtains might seem like just a decorative touch, but they play a surprisingly big role in how well you sleep. The curtain check is a simple habit. Before you settle in for the night, make sure your curtains are doing their job, blocking out as much light as possible. Even tiny gaps, thin fabrics, or curtains that don't fully close can let in streetlights, car headlights, or early morning sun. That stray light can disrupt your body's natural sleep signals. Light is one of the strongest cues for your circadian rhythm, the internal clock that tells your body when it's time to be awake or asleep. When light sneaks into your room during sleep hours, it tricks your brain into thinking it's still daytime. This can reduce melatonin production, the hormone that helps you fall asleep and stay asleep. A proper curtain check means looking for gaps around the edges or between panels. If you find any, simple fixes include adding curtain clips, using blackout liners, or layering curtains for extra coverage. Even heavy drapes can lose effectiveness if they're not wide enough to cover the entire window, or if they're hung too high. For those who can't install blackout curtains, sleep masks can be a helpful backup. But nothing beats the simple act of closing curtains properly. Taking a moment to do the curtain check each evening sets the stage for a darker, quieter environment, which supports deeper, more restorative sleep. It's an easy, low-cost step that often goes overlooked, but its impact can be surprisingly big. Making sure your curtains are on point helps your brain get the clearest message. It's time to rest. Scalp massage wind down. After a busy day, tension often builds up in unexpected places, especially around your head and scalp. The scalp massage wind down is a simple technique that taps into this tension and helps your body transition into relaxation. A scalp massage involves using your fingertips to gently knead and rub your scalp in slow, circular motions. This action increases blood flow to the head, which not only feels soothing, but also helps release built-up muscle tension and stress. The gentle pressure stimulates nerve endings and encourages the production of feel-good hormones like serotonin and oxytocin, which promote calmness and well-being. What makes the scalp massage wind down particularly effective before bed is how it signals your nervous system to shift from alertness to rest. The relaxing sensation calms the mind and slows your breathing, helping reduce the physical and mental tension that can keep you awake. You don't need to visit a spa or use any special tools to do this. It can be as simple as running your fingers through your hair, applying light pressure in circular movements, or using a scalp massager if you have one. Some people like to combine the massage with essential oils like lavender or chamomile for added relaxation. Even just 5 minutes of scalp massage before bedtime can make a difference. It's a tactile, intentional act that draws your focus inward, helps clear your mind, and prepares your body for sleep. In a world full of distractions, this simple self-care practice creates a quiet moment, a signal that it's time to wind down and let go. Bedroom feng shui. Your bedroom isn't just a place to sleep. It's a space that can influence how well you rest. Bedroom feng shui is the ancient practice of arranging your sleeping environment to promote better energy flow and ultimately more restful sleep. Feng shui, which means wind and water, focuses on how the placement of objects in a room affects the flow of energy, or qi. When your bedroom is organized with this in mind, it creates a calm, balanced atmosphere that helps the mind and body relax. One key principle is bed placement. Ideally, the bed should be positioned so you can see the door without being directly in line with it. This command position makes you feel secure and in control, reducing subconscious stress that might disrupt sleep. Clutter is another important factor. A tidy room frees up energy and prevents distractions, making it easier to unwind. Removing unnecessary items from your bedroom can help clear your mind and create a peaceful environment. Lighting also plays a role. Soft, warm lighting is preferable to harsh or bright lights, which can stimulate your senses. Incorporating natural elements like plants or gentle colors can further enhance the relaxing vibe. Small adjustments like avoiding mirrors facing the bed or choosing calming colors such as blues and greens support a tranquil atmosphere. Bedroom feng shui is about creating a space that supports your body's natural rhythms and emotional well-being. By thoughtfully arranging your room, you set the stage for better sleep. It's a practical, approachable way to transform your bedroom into a sanctuary, one where the energy flows smoothly and your rest comes easier. No caffeine. After 2 rule. Caffeine doesn't just affect you when you drink it, it can stick around in your system for hours. That's why the no caffeine after 2 p.m. rule exists. It's a simple cutoff time designed to prevent caffeine from interfering with your sleep later in the evening. Most people know caffeine helps you stay awake, but what's less obvious is how long it lingers in your body. On average, it takes about 5 to 6 hours for just half of the caffeine you consume to wear off. That's called its half-life. So even if you stop drinking coffee in the afternoon, it could still be active in your system well into the night. For example, if you drink a medium coffee at 3 p.m., half of that caffeine could still be circulating in your bloodstream at 9 p.m. That's enough to reduce melatonin production and make it harder to fall asleep, even if you don't feel fully alert. The 2 p.m. rule is a general guideline. Some people metabolize caffeine more quickly, others more slowly. But for most people, cutting off caffeine in the early afternoon provides enough time for it to wear off before bedtime. This includes not just coffee, but also tea, sodas, energy drinks, and even certain medications or supplements that contain caffeine. If you're used to a late afternoon pick-me-up, consider switching to a non-caffeinated option like herbal tea, fruit-infused water, or just a short walk to boost energy naturally. The goal isn't to eliminate caffeine entirely. It's about timing it so that it works with your body's sleep-wake cycle instead of against it. Moving your last dose earlier in the day can make your nights more restful without sacrificing your morning alertness. Chamomile Cloud. A warm drink before bed isn't just comforting, it can also help you sleep better, especially if that drink is chamomile tea. Chamomile has been used for centuries as a natural remedy for restlessness, and its calming effects are now supported by modern research. The active compound in chamomile is called apigenin. It binds to receptors in your brain that help reduce anxiety and promote sleepiness, functioning in a way that's similar to certain mild sedatives, but without the side effects. Drinking chamomile tea about 30 to 45 minutes before bed can help ease you into a more relaxed state. It's not a knockout drink, it won't force you to sleep. What it does is take the edge off, lowering tension, quieting racing thoughts, and signaling to your body that it's time to slow down. What makes chamomile especially useful is that it's caffeine-free and easy on the stomach. It's also safe to use daily and works well as part of a consistent nighttime routine. That predictability is helpful because your brain responds well to repetition. If you regularly pair chamomile with other low-stimulation activities, like dimming the lights, brushing your teeth, or reading, it gradually becomes part of your sleep signal system. Most chamomile teas are available in bagged form, which makes the process simple. Just steep one in hot water for 5 to 10 minutes, let it cool slightly, and sip it slowly. Avoid adding sugar or milk, since those can interfere with the calming effect. The goal isn't to make you drowsy on command. It's to support the conditions your body already needs to transition into rest, and chamomile does that in a way that's accessible, gentle, and easy to stick with. Shadow watch. You don't need a clock to know when your body's ready to sleep, but your brain likes a rhythm. Shadow watch is a simple mental technique that helps resync your internal sense of time using light and shadow cues, especially as part of a sleep routine. It's not about staring at actual shadows on the wall, and it's not about tracking hours. It's about using your surroundings to gently anchor your mind in the present and cue the body to power down. Here's how it works. At night, when you've dimmed the lights, take a moment to observe how the lighting has changed in your space. Maybe it's the way the lamp casts a shadow across your blanket, or how the hallway light falls softly through the door. You're not analyzing or interpreting anything. You're just watching. The goal is to let your brain lock onto slow, non-stimulating visual input. It's a cue that tells your nervous system, nothing's moving, nothing's urgent, it's time to slow down. This works because our brains evolved to track environmental shifts, especially light. But in modern life, artificial lighting and screens scramble those signals. By consciously observing low-light visuals, like the play of soft shadows in a room, you're mimicking what your brain is wired to expect at the end of the day, a quieting of the world. It's especially helpful if you have trouble switching off mentally. Shadow watching doesn't require silence or stillness. It just redirects your focus to something passive and grounding. And because it's visual but non-stimulating, it helps bridge the gap between thinking and sleep. You don't need to make it a big event, just a few minutes of relaxed observation, ideally with no screens around. It's about shifting gears, not checking out. Shadow watch is simply a way to let your mind know the day is done. The nothing box trick. Some people fall asleep by thinking about everything. Others do it by thinking about absolutely nothing. That's where the nothing box trick comes in. It's not a formal technique, and it doesn't come from a sleep study, but it's surprisingly effective. The idea is simple. You create an imaginary space in your mind where nothing happens. No noise, no movement, no decisions, just blankness. And then you go there. Most people's minds are like crowded rooms at night, thoughts running in every direction. The nothing box gives your brain a place to go that isn't stimulating. It's like handing your attention a cushion and saying, just sit here for a while. The trick works by hijacking your mental momentum. Instead of following one thought into another, you gently redirect your mind toward a still, featureless scene. Some people picture a black screen. Others imagine floating in space, sitting in an empty room, or lying on a white floor. The key is that it's neutral, nothing to analyze, nothing to solve. It's different from visualization techniques that ask you to imagine a beach or a forest. Those can be relaxing, but they also invite detail and emotion. The nothing box avoids that completely. It's designed to turn the volume down on everything. With practice, your brain begins to associate that place with shutting down. You may still get distracted, but you just return to the box without judgment. Over time, this creates a kind of shortcut, a conditioned response where entering the box triggers drowsiness. There's no need for apps or recordings. You just close your eyes, go to the empty space in your mind, and let your system idle. It's low effort, non-digital, and surprisingly calming. For restless minds, the nothing box isn't about sleep itself. It's about giving the brain nothing to chew on. Breath count fade out. You don't need to control your thoughts to fall asleep. You just need to give your brain something simpler to do. The breath count fade out is a mental technique that uses a simple countdown to quiet your nervous system and guide your mind into a slower state. It's not complicated, and it doesn't involve deep breathing or trying to relax on command. The trick is in the rhythm and the fade. Here's how it works. You start by breathing normally. No need to change your pace or hold your breath. Just notice the inhale and the exhale. Then, as you exhale, you silently count, starting from 10 and going down. One number per breath. With each breath, the number gets smaller, your body gets heavier, and your mind begins to narrow its focus. But here's the key. As you go lower in the count, you don't try to stay alert. In fact, the goal is to let the numbers drift. You don't reset the count if you lose track. You don't snap yourself awake to start over. If your mind fades out mid-count, that's the whole point. The fading means it's working. This method works by giving the mind a low-effort, repetitive task. Something just engaging enough to block intrusive thoughts, but not stimulating enough to keep you alert. It mimics the natural slowing of the brain's activity as it transitions into sleep, and the countdown provides a clear signal that things are winding down. It's especially useful for people who tend to overthink at night. There's no pressure to do it perfectly. You're not trying to reach zero. You're just giving your mind a soft focus and letting the rest take care of itself. The countdown isn't a goal, it's a ramp into sleep. The melting staircase. It begins with a shape in your mind, not an object, not a story, just a staircase, soft, slow, almost sinking under your weight. The melting staircase is a mental sleep aid built on the principle of guided descent. Instead of counting sheep or repeating mantras, this technique walks your mind down a staircase, one imagined step at a time, where each step feels slower, heavier, and more relaxed than the last. The idea is to trick the brain into mimicking the natural neurological descent into sleep by pairing imagery with a sensation of letting go. There's no need for perfect visuals. What matters is sequence. You picture yourself stepping down. Each step melts slightly underfoot. That softness becomes symbolic. Muscles relax, tension slips away, thoughts begin to lose their shape. The staircase might be lit or dim. It might spiral or fade into mist. But the pattern is consistent, downward, soft, and slow. Some people add narration, counting steps, syncing with deep breaths, or pairing each descent with a calming phrase like letting go or melting further. Others just follow the motion in silence. The strength of this technique lies in how it bypasses overthinking. Instead of analyzing your day or trying to solve sleep, your brain is given a job with no end point. It focuses just long enough to break mental loops, then slips into the default mode network, the state your brain uses to drift off. It doesn't demand focus, it rewards drift. You don't need to finish the staircase. Most people don't. The descent becomes the transition. Not a goal to complete, just a path to disappear into. That's the whole point. Sensory shutdown sequence. Most people try to fall asleep by thinking their way into it. The sensory shutdown sequence takes the opposite approach. It starts by turning the world off. This method is based on a simple logic. If your senses are still active, your brain assumes you need to stay alert. So instead of waiting to feel tired, you actively shut things down, one sense at a time. The goal isn't to fall asleep instantly. It's to remove the inputs that keep your brain in awake mode. The sequence usually begins with sight. You close your eyes and imagine dimming the lights in your mind until there's nothing left but blackness. Then you focus on sound. You mentally turn down the volume, tuning out background noise or internal chatter like you're sliding down a fader on a soundboard. Next is touch. You scan your body and imagine disconnecting each physical sensation, starting with your hands, feet, and slowly working inward, until it all feels far away. Some versions of the technique include smell and taste too, even if those senses aren't active. You imagine placing them in standby, like shutting off unused tabs in your browser. This imaginative act helps reinforce the message. Nothing is required of you right now. Your environment is safe. Your systems can power down. The sequence acts like a manual override for your nervous system. It shifts attention away from thought and towards stillness, which makes it easier for the brain to hand things over to its sleep circuits. There's no need to do it perfectly. The value is in the process, giving your mind fewer reasons to stay awake and more signals that it's finally okay to let go. Thought labeling. Thoughts don't always ask for permission. They show up, interrupt, and loop endlessly. Cloud labeling is a mental technique designed to handle that overload without fighting it. The idea is simple. When a thought enters your mind, you mentally tag it, like labeling a passing cloud in the sky. Instead of diving into the thought or trying to push it away, you name it and let it drift. For example, if you start worrying about tomorrow's meeting, you might silently note, planning. If a regret shows up, you mark it, past. If a random image or memory pops in, you just tag it, random thought. This technique comes from mindfulness-based cognitive practices, where the goal is to create space between you and your thoughts. You're not denying the thought, and you're not encouraging it. You're simply acknowledging it, assigning it a label, and letting it go. Like clouds passing overhead, they don't need to be chased or controlled. The key benefit is that labeling interrupts the emotional grip of the thought. A worry isn't just worry. It's now something you've observed from a distance, and that distance helps your brain avoid spirals. Over time, this method teaches your mind to see thoughts as passing events, not urgent problems that need solving. Cloud labeling is especially useful at night, when your brain starts digging up everything it forgot to worry about during the day. Instead of trying to argue with your mind, you just start labeling. Future, noise, doubt, to-do list. And one by one, you let them float away. It's not about achieving perfect calm. It's about practicing non-engagement. You stop fueling the cycle, and that's often all your brain needs to start winding down. Clock hands drift. At night, staring at the ceiling can make time feel like it's standing still. But there's a strange trick that flips that feeling. Focusing on the slow, steady movement of an analog clock. The clock hands drift technique is a simple visual method that uses your attention, not to force sleep, but to allow it. Instead of trying to shut your brain off, this technique gives it a neutral, repetitive task, quietly tracking the movement of time. You don't need to watch the clock tick second by second. The idea is to gently follow the minute hand, or even imagine it in your mind, drifting slowly from one notch to the next. The slower you track it, the less mental energy you're using. That's important, because the brain can't race in circles while focusing on a calm, continuous motion. It's similar to a sleep meditation, but it uses a visual anchor instead of breath or sound. Watching or imagining clock hands drifting gives the mind something low effort to do. It removes pressure. There's no goal, no finish line, just a slowly turning hand, passing time at its own pace. This trick works best when you're mentally overstimulated but physically tired. The gentle movement keeps you from falling into stressful thought loops, like replaying the day or predicting tomorrow. And unlike staring at a phone screen, this form of attention helps the brain wind down. Even if you don't have a physical clock nearby, the technique still works. Picture the face of a clock in your mind and let the minute hand drift. No rush, no perfection, just a simple silent cue that it's okay to let go. Invisible blanket technique. It's hard to relax when your body still feels exposed or alert, even when you're lying in bed. That's where the invisible blanket technique comes in. It's a simple mental strategy that helps the brain simulate comfort and safety, even when the real world isn't cooperating. The idea is to use your imagination to create the sensation of being wrapped in something soft, heavy, and calming, like a warm blanket, even if one isn't physically present. Think of it like a mental weighted blanket. You're not actually covering yourself with anything new. You're just focusing your attention on the feeling of pressure, warmth, and stillness across your body. Start by lying flat on your back or in a position that feels neutral. Then, imagine a layer of weight gently settling over you, one area at a time. Shoulders, arms, chest, legs, feet. You're mentally cueing your body to relax by simulating that tucked-in feeling. It's not about controlling your thoughts, it's about redirecting them to physical cues. This technique works because of how the nervous system responds to pressure. Just like a real weighted blanket can signal the brain to enter rest mode, imagining that same sensation taps into the same pathways, calming your fight or flight system, reducing fidgeting, and slowing the breath. People who deal with anxiety, insomnia, or nighttime restlessness often find this trick surprisingly helpful. It doesn't require any tools, apps, or sounds, just a few minutes of quiet attention to the body. The invisible blanket technique is essentially comfort by imagination. When done consistently, it can become a reliable signal that it's time to wind down, not by forcing sleep, but by creating the mental conditions that invite it. The Inner Librarian. Your brain stores more information than you realize. Thoughts, worries, half-formed ideas, all crammed into the mental equivalent of a crowded bookshelf. The Inner Librarian technique is a way to bring order to that mess. Think of it like assigning someone inside your head the job of organizing, filing, and putting things away. When your mind races at night, it's often because dozens of random thoughts are all competing for your attention at once. The Inner Librarian is a mental exercise that helps you sort them out, not by solving them, but by placing them where they belong so you can rest. The process starts with observation. Instead of getting tangled up in every thought, you imagine yourself, or a calm figure, standing at the center of a library. As each thought shows up, you mentally hand it off. This goes in the work section. That goes under tomorrow's problems, or this one's just background noise. You don't argue with the thoughts, you just sort and shelve. It might sound simple, but this mental act of categorizing gives your brain a sense of control. You're not suppressing anything. You're acknowledging each thought, then assigning it a place. That's often enough to reduce the sense of overwhelm. Some people find it helpful to add a visual cue, like closing an imaginary drawer or sliding a book back onto the shelf. Others use labels like "can't fix now" or "revisit later." The key is to turn chaos into structure, even if it's only symbolic. The Inner Librarian isn't about erasing your thoughts. It's about creating enough mental space for sleep to happen without dragging your to-do list under the covers with you. The whisper game. The moment your head hits the pillow, the brain doesn't always slow down. In fact, for many people, it gets louder. That's where the whisper game comes in. a mental technique that lowers the volume inside your mind by lowering the volume of your thoughts. Here's how it works. You take whatever thoughts are swirling around, worries, reminders, random phrases, and you mentally say them again, but as if you're whispering them. You don't actually speak. You just imagine your inner voice getting softer and softer and softer until it's barely more than a hush. What this does is simple but effective. It mimics the natural process of winding down. Just like lights dim at night, this mentally quiets the noise inside your head. The softer your internal voice, the harder it becomes to hold on to intense emotions or spiraling thoughts. The key to the whisper game isn't what you're thinking about, it's how you're thinking. You could take a stressful sentence like, "I need to finish that report," and mentally repeat it in a whisper. Not only does it make the thought feel less urgent, it signals to your body that there's no need to stay alert. Some people combine this with slow breathing or visualize the words being spoken in a dark room. Others layer it with repetition, whispering the same calming phrase again and again until it fades. It's called a game because there's no pressure to get it right. You're just experimenting with volume. If your mind keeps talking, you keep turning the dial down. Over time, your brain gets the message. It's safe, it's quiet, and it's okay to let go. Emotion dial down. Big emotions don't wait for convenient times. They often show up right when you're trying to fall asleep. That's where the emotion dial down technique can make a difference. The idea is simple. Instead of fighting your feelings or trying to shut them off, you picture them like a dial on a stereo. Anger, worry, sadness, whatever you're feeling, it's not a switch that goes from on to off. It's a volume knob. And with practice, you can turn it down gradually. Here's how it works. First, name the emotion clearly, not in a vague way like, "I feel bad," but something more specific like, "I'm feeling anxious" or "I'm frustrated." This alone creates a bit of distance between you and the emotion. Then imagine that emotion as a number, say an 8 out of 10. From there, you picture slowly turning it down. 7, then 6, and so on. You don't need to eliminate the emotion completely. The goal isn't to suppress it, it's to lower its intensity so your body doesn't stay in a state of alert. Some people visualize a physical dial on a wall. Others use their fingers, making a small turning motion. You can even pair it with breathing, turning the dial with each slow exhale. What makes this technique effective is that it gives your brain something concrete to focus on. Instead of being overwhelmed by feeling, you're now engaged in a mental task that's easy, repetitive, and calming. It's not about ignoring what you feel, it's about reminding your nervous system that emotions can change shape and that you're not stuck at full volume. Thought aquarium. Your brain doesn't always know the difference between watching a thought and getting swept away by it. That's where the thought aquarium technique comes in. The concept is built around a simple shift. Instead of being inside your thoughts, you imagine them as if they're swimming around in a glass tank, just like fish. You're not the fish, you're the observer. This small mental adjustment can create just enough distance to calm racing thoughts, especially when your mind is overactive at bedtime. To try it, close your eyes and picture your thoughts as little creatures moving inside an aquarium. Maybe one is shaped like a to-do list, another like a conversation you replayed too many times. Some thoughts will dart around quickly, others might hover. You don't need to stop them. You just watch. No judgment, no control. Just gentle observation. This taps into a mental process called cognitive diffusion. Instead of challenging every thought or getting stuck in loops, You create space between yourself and the mental activity. It's not about fixing the thoughts. It's about seeing them clearly from a safe distance. The more vividly you imagine the tank, the better. Give it glass walls, a light above, maybe even bubbles. Add structure to the scene so your mind has something concrete to anchor to. That way, the act of watching becomes more engaging than the content of the thoughts themselves. You're still thinking, but you're thinking from a place of detachment. That's often all it takes to slow things down. When thoughts feel like they're underwater, floating in a tank instead of circling inside your head, your body gets the message. There's nothing to solve right now. You can rest. White room fade-in. It's hard to fall asleep when your brain keeps replaying scenes, conversations, or to-do lists. That's where the white room fade-in technique comes in. It's a simple mental exercise that clears your mental stage, one object at a time. The idea is to imagine an empty white room, clean, quiet, and brightly lit. At first, you might picture it completely blank. But here's the trick. You fade in the scene slowly, using your imagination to fill in the details piece by piece. You don't jump to a full setting. You gradually build it, starting with the walls, then the floor, maybe the light source, then a single piece of furniture. Why does this work? Because your brain can't vividly build a scene and overthink at the same time. You're giving it a task just engaging enough to hold its attention, but not stimulating enough to keep it alert. It functions like a controlled daydream, except the goal is simplicity, not story. As the white room becomes more defined, you may begin to feel your thoughts slow down. The more you focus on sensory details, how soft the light looks, what the room smells like, how your footsteps might echo, the more your brain eases into a quiet, focused state. There's no narrative, no movement, and no dialogue to follow. Just space. It's especially helpful for people who struggle with intrusive thoughts or nighttime anxiety. Instead of trying to suppress the noise, you replace it with neutral imagery that fades in gently and predictably. The room acts like a visual reset button. You're not forcing your mind to be silent. You're giving it a blank canvas and letting it ease into stillness, one quiet detail at a time. Name drift. It's surprisingly hard to fall asleep when your mind won't stop talking to itself. One thought leads to another, and before long, you're rethinking your entire day. Name drift is a mental trick that interrupts this loop by giving your brain something dull, repetitive, and oddly effective to focus on, your own name. Here's how it works. You start by silently repeating your name in your mind. Just your first name, over and over. It sounds too simple to matter, but that's exactly the point. The repetition pulls your attention away from racing thoughts, anchoring it in something steady and familiar. After a few repetitions, you begin to let the name distort slightly. Maybe you stretch out the syllables. Maybe you hear it in a different voice. Over time, it stops sounding like a name at all. This phenomenon is called semantic satiation, when a word is repeated so often it starts to lose meaning. The brain begins to treat it like background noise, and in doing so, it lets go. That's the drift. Your name becomes a string of sound. The sound becomes rhythm, and the rhythm fades into stillness. It's not hypnosis or meditation. It's more like giving your mind a toy to play with until it gets bored and powers down. This works especially well if your thoughts tend to spiral around identity-based stress, like work pressure, social anxieties, or self-evaluation. Using your own name as the focal point is a clever inversion. You're not escaping yourself. You're neutralizing the mental noise around who you are. It's quiet, it's repetitive, and it requires no preparation. Just close your eyes, Start repeating your name and let it slowly melt into nonsense. When it loses meaning, so does the chatter that comes with it. Object zoom out. Your brain can't fall asleep if it's stuck inside your own head. One way to loosen that grip is to focus on something outside of it, something small, visual, and simple. That's the idea behind the object zoom out technique. It starts by picturing an ordinary object in your mind. Maybe it's a teacup, the doorknob, a paperclip, anything with shape, edges, and a clear surface. Then you mentally zoom out from it, slowly, like a camera pulling away in a film. As your view expands, the object becomes part of a bigger scene. Maybe the paperclip is on a desk. Maybe the desk is in an office. Maybe the office is in a quiet building with the lights off. This kind of visualization isn't about storytelling. It's about spatial detachment. Each layer of zoom out nudges your brain further from immediate worries. You're giving it something neutral to track. Not exciting, not emotional, just visually consistent and stable. What makes this trick work is how it overrides the brain's tendency to loop around self-directed thought. Sleep struggles often begin with internal monologues. What happened today? What's coming tomorrow? What you should have done differently. Object zoom out gently redirects that loop away from inner space and toward external imagination. And there's no need to force detail. The point isn't accuracy, it's depth. As you zoom out, let the scene grow more abstract. Shapes instead of specifics, hints of space instead of rooms. Eventually, your mind begins to drift into the kind of fuzzy awareness that mimics early-stage sleep. It's a quiet form of mental distancing, not by running from thoughts, but by gradually outgrowing them, frame by frame. The puppet limbs trick. When you're lying in bed and your limbs feel restless, your brain is still gripping them like a marionette. The puppet limbs trick is about loosening that control. Here's how it works. You lie flat on your back, arms and legs stretched out naturally. Then, one by one, you imagine each limb as if it were a puppet arm, with its strings being slowly snipped. Start with your right hand. Imagine invisible threads holding it up, stretching to the ceiling. Now picture scissors gently cutting those threads. As they snap, the limb gets heavier. Not numb, just detached. Like it's not your job to move it anymore. Then do the same with your elbow, your shoulder. Move to the other arm, then each leg. Mentally clip the strings until your body feels like it's no longer held up or directed by you. The goal isn't paralysis, it's perceived disconnection. You're telling your nervous system, we're not in motion anymore. This helps signal that it's time to shift from action to stillness. That switch is key, especially if you've spent the day doing, moving, scrolling. Sleep doesn't just require tiredness. It requires surrender. This trick also exploits something called proprioceptive fading. That's when your brain stops tracking parts of your body because they're not moving and there's nothing to monitor. It's a real physiological process. The less sensory input your brain receives from a limb, the more it lets go of it. And the moment your body starts to feel distant or floaty, you're on the edge of sleep's doorway. Not because you forced it, but because you gradually handed control back to the deeper systems already designed to take you there. Internal whisper conversation. You know that voice in your head that narrates your day? The one that reminds you of things, replays moments, or walks you through what to say next. The internal whisper conversation builds on that voice, but uses it to calm your system instead of keeping it busy. This technique works by creating a private, whispered dialogue inside your mind. But here's the catch. It's intentionally slow, quiet, and soothing. Instead of letting your inner voice run wild with random thoughts or worries, you guide it like a calm, supportive friend talking you down from a long day. You can start by addressing yourself in the second person, like, "You're okay," or "Let it go." Then let the conversation unfold gently. It's not about logic or planning. It's about creating the feeling of being comforted. And the trick is to keep the tone quiet, not just in words, but in mental volume. Almost like you're whispering to yourself from across a dark room. This subtle shift helps signal safety to the brain. When your inner dialogue drops its speed and intensity, your nervous system follows. That's especially useful when your body is tired, but your mind won't stop pacing. Whispered internal speech is less stimulating than normal thought. It gives the brain something to focus on without triggering alertness. Over time, this becomes a practice rhythm, whispered reassurance, followed by stillness, a cue, followed by quiet. You're basically simulating the kind of soft, steady presence we associate with being comforted by someone else, but from within. The beauty of the internal whisper conversation is that it gives your mind something to do while still helping it let go. It's not silence, but it leads to it. One line at a time.